Qiu Mingxuan is bound to the sky projection system and can randomly draw a talent skill as a reward for each world he travels through. Smiling and proud of the world, he becomes a saint in his physical body, practicing the diamond of the golden bell mask without breaking down. He is invincible when pushed horizontally in the world. Relying on the heavens to slay dragons, he possesses the Pure Yang Taoist Body and cultivates the Pure Yang Wuji Skill to form a golden pill, becoming a true immortal in Wudang. In the world of divine sculptures, he is the body of thunder, creating his own divine sky true technique, extraordinary and holy, flying to heaven and earth. More worlds, more talents and skills, Qiu Mingxuan's joy, kindness, and enmity, chivalrous and tender, wielding swords to walk the ends of the world. Zhutian flow plus talent flow plus invincible shuangwen. Keywords of the novel. Wuxia. Starting from the Fuwei Escort agency with no pop-ups, Wuxia. Starting from the Fuwei Escort agency, download the complete TXT collection, Wuxia. Starting from the Fuwei Escort agency, read the latest chapters. Chapter 1. Leaving the past tonight, it's good to kill people. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. Leaving the past tonight, it's good to kill people. At midnight. In a small independent courtyard of the Fuwei Escort agency, the bright moonlight scattered on the ground. A handsome young man with thick eyebrows and big eyes, a muscular physique, wearing only shorts and half-naked, was practicing martial arts. This person is practicing martial arts with an astonishing momentum. In the yard, there was a smooth and shiny huge stone ball placed. The young warrior, with wonderful vigorous steps under his feet, surrounded the smooth stone ball, constantly colliding with every skin on his body. His skin is as white as jade, with a faint golden glow. His entire body is sturdy and muscular, with high and prominent muscles and distinct blocks. The neat 8-pack abs vest line presents a streamlined and robust body, containing unimaginable explosive power and male hormone charm. If there is a young lady here, she must drool like a flower lover. Bang! In a moment, the brave young man collided fiercely, and the entire smooth stone ball exploded into powder with a loud bang, drifting in the air. It's done. The young warrior's eyes lit up, and he clenched his fists under the bright moonlight, feeling the powerful and surging energy inside his body. Dang! Suddenly, the brave young man's mind twitched. 3 feet away from his skin, which was as white as jade, he immediately sprayed protective energy from his pores, forming a huge golden bell with a golden gilded pattern. The brave young man is shining with golden light and solemn in appearance, like a Buddha who has become holy in his flesh under the bright moonlight. If a foolish layman sees it, he will surely bow down and worship. Even if the martial arts heroes see it, their expressions will be shocked and they will exclaim that it is impossible, because this is the legendary Golden Bell Shield technique that was horizontally practiced and reached the top of the 12 levels before the appearance of the Golden Bell Protector appearance. In the vast history of China, only Shaolin Bodhisattva was able to refine the Golden Bell Mask to this level. The brave young man, known as Qiu Mingxuan, is a traveler. Upon waking up, he traveled through the 13th year of the Jingde reign of the Ming dynasty and became an ordinary escort at the Fuzhou City Fuwei Escort Agency in FJ Province. He studied at the Southern Shaolin Temple in Puqian from a young age and practiced the martial arts Golden Bell Mask all over his body. By chance, he joined the Fuwei Escort Agency and became an escort to make a living. Fortunately, Qiu Mingxuan was bound to the Zhutian projection system, and was able to draw a talent skill as a reward. Qiu Mingxuan drew the talent of becoming a saint through physical body. With this talent, Qiu Mingxuan practiced the Golden Bell Mask like a divine aid. In just half a year, the Golden Bell Mask realm broke through easily like eating and drinking water, reaching the top of the 12 levels, becoming the second Dharma Patriarch in history. After completing the training of Golden Bell Mask, my physical body is not bad, and I am invincible in the world. I can leave the Fuwei Escort Agency and wander the rivers and lakes. Qiu Mingxuan's eyes were bright and lively, as he was imagining life in the world of horseback riding. Suddenly, his ears twitched and he looked up at the roof. The air was filled with even breathing footsteps, and it turned out that outsiders had infiltrated. Qiu Mingxuan's golden bell cover is full and round, with his entire body resembling that of a Buddha. His 5 senses and 6 senses are incredibly sensitive and possess incredible powers. The person who infiltrated the Fuwei Escort agency, with even breathing and extremely light footsteps, was obviously a martial arts master with profound internal skills. However, he couldn't hide anything from Qiu Mingxuan. Qiu Mingxuan stepped on the ground with his soul, leaping forward and falling lightly onto the roof, as if treading on snow without any sound. Qiu Mingxuan has never practiced lightness skills. But the cultivation of Golden Bell Mask is complete, and the subtle power to control the body is no longer unimaginable by ordinary people. This kick, leap, and landing were like practicing top-notch lightness skills, making it imperceptible. The bright moonlight is like water, and the person who infiltrated the Fuwei Escort agency is moving swiftly on the roof tiles, his body hidden in the darkness, carefully observing every move inside the Fuwei Escort agency. He is short in stature, standing no more than 5 feet tall, and is actually a dwarf. He is wearing a green robe with leggings and looks like a shoe person. Yu Songhai. Qiu Mingxuan recognized his identity at a glance. Thinking of Yu Songhai's actions towards the Fuwei Escort agency, Qiu Mingxuan's eyes flickered and he quietly lurked past. Who? Yu Songhai truly deserves to be the leader of the Qingqing sect. Even though Qiu Mingxuan held his breath and approached, he eventually discovered him when he was 1 meter away. However, just 1 meter away, in the eyes of unparalleled experts like Qiu Mingxuan, it is no different from being close at hand. As soon as Yu Songhai spoke out, Qiu Mingxuan touched the ground with his foot and exploded a tile into pieces with a loud bang. With this help, Qiu Mingxuan quickly and silently entered into front of Yu Songhai and slapped it out of thin air. Under the bright moonlight, Yu Songhai's reaction was astonishing. In the moment he turned his head back to his senses, he had already drawn his sword. His face turned into a Rakshasa ghost face, and a thin sword was drawn from his waist, shimmering with dazzling sword light in the bright night. However, Qiu Mingxuan grabbed it with one palm and directly grasped the thin sword to form a ball. The other palm hit Yu Songhai's chest, shattering his internal organs with a thud. Yu Songhai's 7 orifices bled and he died silently. The next second, Qiu Mingxuan carried the body and silently left the rooftop. He quietly walked out of the Fuwei Escort agency and then jumped down the walls of Fuzhou to reach a wine house outside the city, where he threw the body into the courtyard. After finishing all of this, Qiu Mingxuan drifted into the darkness. In the fenced courtyard of Kai Ji's tavern, there was a sudden thud and the sound of heavy objects falling on the ground, which alarmed the people inside. The firewood door creaked open and a pair of grandparents and grandchildren walked out. The old man had white hair all over his head and a waxy yellow complexion, as if he was seriously ill. He looked cautiously into the darkness, and when he saw the small corpse in the courtyard, his pupils couldn't help but shrink and he walked over softly. Behind him, followed by a young girl in green. She has a graceful figure, but her appearance is very ugly, dark and rough, and she also has acne scars. Junior sister, it's Yu Songhai, the leader of the Qingqing sect. This old man with white hair is the second disciple of the Huashan sect, Lao Dino, who is lurking outside the city of Fuzhou. At this moment, he recognizes the identity of Yu Songhai and cannot help but feel shocked. He looks around in fear at the dark environment. It seems like in the darkness, there is a pair of invisible eyes hidden, silently staring at the two of them. Yu Songhai. The girl in green clothes is crisp and beautiful, and she is the daughter of Yu Lingshan, the leader of the Huashan sect. Why was he killed and thrown into our yard? At this moment, Laderno, who had finished examining the body, whispered, "The body is still warm. Perhaps it has just passed away. The victim's 7 orifices are bleeding, and their chest and ribs are completely shattered, leaving only one palm print. It should have been someone who shattered their internal organs with powerful palm force and died. At this point, Lauderno warned, there are very few people in the world who can do this. I don't know what this person really means. Yu Lingshan was intelligent and quick-witted, and upon hearing the words, she said, I heard from my father that the Qinqing sect has always been thinking about the Lin family's exorcism sword manual, from the Fuwei Escort agency. It appears in Fuzhou City at this moment, and I'm afraid it's because of this thing. The murderer killed Yu Canghai and threw it into the yard to intentionally disturb us, probably warning us in secret. Lauderno nodded upon hearing the words and said, what junior sister said is absolutely true. After speaking, he sighed and said, since the Lin family has a peerless expert who secretly protects them, I don't think we need to protect them from the Huashan sect. We came at the command of our master to protect the demon sect sword manual from being taken by the demons. Now that there are experts who secretly warn us, we can return to Huashan to report. It's all up to senior brother to make the decision. After a few breaths, Laodinu dug a pit in the courtyard and buried the body of Yu Canghai. Yu Lingshan went back to the house to pack her luggage. The two of them dared not stop at once and left Fuzhou City overnight. Seeing Laodino and Yu Lingshan go far away, Qiu Mingxuan, who was hiding in the dark watching a play, finally slowly appeared. You're quite clever. Qiu Mingxuan shook his head and immediately glanced at Fuzhou City, which was shrouded in the night. He turned around and left with a big meteor. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Jianghu is a fortress besieged. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. Jianghu is a fortress besieged. Jianghu is a besieged city. Some people want to go in, some people want to come out. If we say, the most popular event in the martial arts world recently should be Lu Jingfeng, a master of the Hengshan sect, washing his hands in a golden basin. Lu Jingfeng's mansion, Hengshan City, Hunan Province. On this day, it was a big day for Lu Jingfeng to wash his hands in a golden basin. Lu Mansion was adorned with red and colorful decorations, full of joy. The hall and courtyard were filled with guests, including the 5 sacred sword sect, martial arts heroes, and all kinds of people from all walks of life, who came to observe the ceremony. Qiu Mingxuan, dressed in green and short clothes, seemed to be an ordinary person from the martial arts world, sitting upright in the courtyard, exchanging cups with martial arts heroes. The decree is here. Suddenly, an official swaggered into Lu's mansion and ordered him to set up an incense table and read out the imperial edict. According to the imperial decree of Fengtian Qingyun, as reported by the governor of Hunan province, Lu Jingfeng, a commoner of Hengshan County, was eager for justice and meritorious in the mulberry fields. He was skilled in archery and horse riding, and was capable of great use. He was truly appointed as a counselor and will serve the court in the future. He will not disappoint my expectations, and I am honored with this position. In the courtyard, a short, chubby middle-aged man in luxurious attire knelt on the ground, loudly receiving orders. My humble minister leads the decree, long live my emperor. Lu Jingfeng knelt down and ordered his disciple to bring a plate of gifts in front of hundreds of heroes in the hall. The tray was covered with red silk fabric, and when the officials opened a corner, they saw a brilliant golden light, with ingots of gold displayed. Mr. Lu, I am currently on official business and should not stay for long. Come and fill 3 glasses of wine. I wish Mr. Lu a long and successful career in the coming days. The official smiled and offered 3 glasses of wine to Lu Jingfeng, then swaggered away. In the courtyard, the guests were completely silent. No one expected that Lu Jingfeng would change in a blink of an eye and become a 3rd-rank official in the Ming dynasty, completely different from everyone else. Most of the rivers and lakes are wild, showing envious looks. A small number of martial arts heroes, with disdainful expressions, couldn't stand Lu Jingfeng's flattery, and couldn't help but sulk and drink. When the officials left, Lu Zhengfeng ordered someone to bring a golden basin filled with clean water and prepare a basin for washing hands. Heroes and heroes, relatives and friends, and younger brother Lu Zhengfeng, we are grateful for your love and appreciation. Thank you all for coming all the way to attend my little brother's golden basin handwashing ceremony. My little brother Lu Zhengfeng has a gold plaque on his face, and I am extremely grateful. As the saying goes, the reward for eating a ruler is to be loyal to him. My younger brother Lu Zhengfeng, who was recruited by my mentor and taught martial arts, was unable to carry forward the reputation of the Hengshan sect. I feel ashamed. Fortunately, our sect is presided over by senior brother Mo, with one more Lu Zhengfeng and one less Lu Zhengfeng. Now that I have received imperial favor, I have been appointed as a third-rank counselor and only need to abide by the law. I can no longer pay attention to the grievances in the martial arts world. I hope that all the heroes and heroines can bear witness to the reasons behind it. After speaking, Lu Zhengfeng drew his sword from the bottom of his robe, and in front of the heroes, he snapped it in half with a loud bang. He then let the broken sword fall, hissing twice, and inserted it into the blue bricks on the ground. In an instant, there was a complete silence in the hall and courtyard, and everyone was horrified. After seeing Lu Zhengfeng's flattery towards officials, all the heroic figures thought that Lu Zhengfeng was just a useless person. I never thought of lifting heavy weights lightly and effortlessly breaking my personal sword. The sword was frosty and shining, sharp and hard. It was inserted into the green bricks as if into tofu, clearly not an ordinary thing. Lu Zhengfeng inadvertently revealed this hand, which shocked all the heroes. The skill on these fingers is truly the expertise of top-notch martial artists in the martial arts world. Unfortunately. A black-bearded scholar, speaking with a strong Shangxi accent, sighed with a desolate expression, as if filled with endless regret. Lu Zhengfeng smiled on his face, rolled up his sleeves, reached out his hands, and was about to put them into the golden bowl. Suddenly, he heard a loud and angry shout, "Stay here." Everyone was surprised and turned their heads to look. Outside the gate, 4 men in yellow walked in. As soon as they entered, they stood on either side, and another burly middle-aged man walked with bright and lively eyes, his head held high. He raised a 5-colored brocade flag, adorned with pearls and gemstones. As he moved, it emitted a brilliant radiance. The flag of the leader of the 5 sacred sword sect has arrived. The burly man shouted loudly, as if an official had read a decree before, and walked straight into the courtyard with his head held high. Upon seeing this, at a banquet in the courtyard, Qiu Mingxuan sighed unconsciously and put down his dishes. He stood up while no one was paying attention and quietly walked into the backyard of Lu Mansion. The backyard of Lu Mansion was silent, with no one in the courtyard corridor, as if they had all disappeared. Qiu Mingxuan held his breath and took wonderful vigorous steps at his feet. He walked several meters away, as if graceful as a startled swan, and quietly flashed into a room. In the angry eyes of the disciples of the Songshan sect, he raised his hand and killed his life. "Shu, keep quiet." In the room, there were bound maids and servants. Qiu Mingxuan walked over to loosen the rope and asked the maids and servants to remain silent. The maids and servants nodded in agreement. Searching through rooms, Qiu Mingxuan killed more and more disciples of the Songshan sect, and rescued more and more people, including Mrs. Lu Zhengfeng, several concubines, 2 young sons, and several young daughters. When he finally walked into a fragrant boudoir, he found someone fighting inside. His 5 senses and 6 senses were astonishing, and as he passed through the window, he could detect the movement inside. At this moment, he swooped into the boudoir and attacked 2 disciples of the Songshan sect, raising his palms and killing them without any defense. After finishing all of this, Qiu Mingxuan looked at a young girl in a yellow shirt, about 13 or 14 years old, with a lotus-like appearance and jade snow skin. She was a beautiful embryo and was now watching him with vigilance. On the bed in the boudoir, there was also a woman dressed in green, about 18 or 19 years old, with a green skirt, crimson sleeves, a phoenix hairpin slanted into a cloud bun, a face like lotus sepals, and lips like cherries. She was also a beautiful woman. Qingyi Raksha. The yellow-clothed girl was none other than Chu Fian, the granddaughter of Chu Yang, the elder of the demon cult. She had a life of ancient spirits and was well versed. When she saw Qiu Mingxuan wearing a short blue shirt and a Sichuan face mask like a playboy, she couldn't help but be shocked. She recognized her identity as the famous Qingyi Raksha in the martial arts world. She broke into Hunan province from Fujian and killed countless corrupt officials, bandits, and reckless martial artists. She was an unparalleled master of killing without blinking an eye. It is said that this person has traveled the rivers and lakes with extraordinary martial arts skills, and no one knows his true face. All they know is that when he takes action, he wears a blue shirt and a Sichuan face mask like a playboy. Anyone he sees doing evil, no matter how high his identity, martial arts skills, whether he is a man or a woman, or whether he is always young, will not let go. So, despite having a very short debut time, he has become famous in the martial arts world and is a ruthless expert that everyone fears. Even the leader of the Qingqing sect, Yu Canghai, disappeared inexplicably within the territory of Fujian, rumored to have been killed by this person. Great Xia in green, thank you very much for saving your life. Chu Fian's eyes rolled and he immediately bowed, pretending to be a naive and ignorant girl. He went to untie the rope of the girl in green on the bed and deliberately explained, "Those two villains are disciples of the Songshan sect. I don't know why they tied up my Lu sister and other family members of the Lu family. You go and take a look." Qiu Mingxuan remained silent and flew out of the room, continuing to save people. I walked around the backyard, checked all the rooms, and then quietly jumped onto the roof to launch a surprise attack on a skilled member of the Songshan sect. This time, the experts of the Songshan sect poured out their ranks. Apart from the ordinary disciples guarding the butler's family in the backyard, there were also more than 10 people lurking on the roof of the Lu mansion, laying a net of heaven and earth, and staring at the martial arts heroes in the hall courtyard. In broad daylight, Qiu Mingxuan dodged and launched a surprise attack. The disciple of the Songshan sect did not react and was already killed by him with his palm raised. However, there were more than 10 people lurking on the roof. Seeing Qiu Mingxuan launch a surprise attack and knowing that their movements were exposed, they all drew their swords and rushed towards Qiu Mingxuan. Some people saw his attire and recognized his identity as the blue-clothed Rakshasa, and couldn't help but look shocked. More than a dozen elite disciples of the Songshan sect, who are at the level of second-rate masters in the martial arts world, have learned from the same sect and wielded swords of the same origin. They wield one sword after another with a majestic aura, like long spears and halberds, spanning thousands of miles, as if they were a righteous and upright teacher. They are the famous Songshan sword technique in the martial arts world. However, when encountering the Qingyi Raksha, no swordsmanship is effective. Qiu Mingxuan stepped forward to kill, several meters away. The tiles under his feet burst into powder, containing a powerful force. He punched and slapped fiercely, with a speed that was as fast as a celestial horse or meteor. All the sword light could not be restrained, and his sharp sword was broken inch by inch, shooting fiercely in all directions. In the frightened eyes of his younger brother from the Songshan sect, a powerful force struck, only feeling a pain all over his body. His consciousness fell into darkness, and one life after another was mercilessly killed by the Qingyi Luosha. The fight on the roof, Qiu Mingxuan did not avoid anyone, the whereabouts of the Songshan sect were exposed, and there were no hidden traces. His sword light roared, already alerting the heroic heroes in the courtyard, jumping up and down on the roof. Qingyi Raksha. The body of the Songshan sect. When all the heroes and heroines jumped onto the roof, the fight on the roof had already ended. The body of a man in a yellow shirt rolled with tiles and fell into the courtyard, causing shock to the martial arts heroes and all kinds of people. Thief, give back my disciple's life. The top experts of the Songshan sect this time include 3 members of the 13 Taibao of Songshan, namely, Fei Bin, the Great Songyang Hand, Ding Mian, the Toda Hand, and Lu Bai, the Immortal Crane Hand. They are all top experts of the Songshan sect and famous figures in the martial arts world. They were originally pressuring Lu Zhengfeng to reveal Chu Yang's whereabouts in the courtyard, but as the reputation of the Hengshan sect was destroyed and the plan of the Songshan sect was about to succeed, they were surprised to hear the sound of fighting on the roof. The whereabouts of the Songshan sect disciples lurking on the roof were exposed, and they had no choice but to jump up to the roof. However, they saw that all Songshan sect disciples were killed and their bodies rolled down into the courtyard. At the appointed time, the Songyang's hand Fei Bin, Toda's hand Ding Mian, Xianhe's hand Lu Bai, as well as Qian Zhangsong Shi Dingda and Wan Daiping's elite disciples, were all shocked and angry, clapping or drawing their swords to kill Qiu Mingxuan. Qiu Mingxuan remained silent and broke into the besieging crowd. The Songyang's hand, Fei Bin, had the highest martial arts skills and used his ultimate lightness skill to kill the green-clothed Raksha. He lowered his waist and clapped his palm, which was extremely powerful. Before he could even approach him, he could see that his palm was fierce and contained deep internal power, enough to open a monument and crack a stone. Bang! Qiu Mingxuan clapped his palm and met Fei Bin's palm strength. With a loud thud, Fei Bin's right arm was shattered and scattered in a rain of blood. The remains of his bones and flesh splattered on the clothes of elite disciples such as Qiu Mingxuan, Fei Bin, and the Songshan sect. The smell of blood in the air filled the air, and the heroes gathered in awe. Fei Bin slapped someone and even shattered his entire right arm. That's the Songyang Shou Fei Bin. The top expert of the 13 guardians of Mount Song, the Great Songyang Hand, is renowned in the martial arts world. However, he has suffered a disastrous defeat in the palm power competition, with his entire right arm shattered by an explosion. How fierce is the palm power of the Qingyi Luosha? At this moment, the heroes and heroines who were watching were stunned and silent, looking at the face of the blue-robe Raksha in fear, showing a sense of fear. Ah! Fei Bin screamed in excruciating pain, but the next second, a colorful and terrifying face of the Rakshasa became his last memory before his consciousness fell into darkness. His chest was filled with excruciating pain, and his entire body was blown away. Dang! At this moment, the Toda hand Ding Mian and the crane hand Lu Bai arrived one after another, and their powerful palms landed on Qiu Mingxuan. Just as a bell rang out of thin air and slowly echoed, Qiu Mingxuan burst into a brilliant golden light. The protective energy gushed out of his pores and condensed into a huge golden bell outside his body, enveloping his body. A powerful recoil came, and with just a few puffs, Ding Mian and Lu Bai's bodies flew upside down together, exploding with a bang in midair. Their limbs were severed and splattered, scattering a shower of blood in the sky. The strong smell of blood drifted away, making them faintly nauseous. It's too scary. No one expected such a thing to happen. The hands of Toda, Ding Mian, and Xianhe, Lu Bai, also died. Their bodies were fried to pieces and not even a whole body was left behind. It's truly shocking. The Golden Bell Protector is a vision of the 12 levels of Golden Bell covers. The heroes of the martial arts world gathered on the rooftop, all of whom were top-notch experts in the martial arts world. When they saw the protective golden bell of the Qingyi Luosha, they couldn't help but feel shocked and exclaimed in shock. Obviously, I have recognized this famous horizontal practice martial arts. How could it be? A Buddhist disciple gaped, recited the Buddhist name subconsciously, looked at the blue-clothes Luosha in shock, and couldn't help murmuring. For thousands of years, except for the founder of Shaolin Dharma, no other person has reached the 12th level of cultivation. That is the realm of Golden Arhat, which can be called enlightenment and becoming a Buddha. Amitabha Buddha, it's unbelievable that there are such great people in the world. My Buddha is merciful, so good. The heroic heroes on the roof, seeing the Golden Bell Protector, trembled one by one, as if witnessing the gods and Buddha. The Golden Bell Mask of the 12 levels can be called a martial arts myth, and no one has ever successfully cultivated it. But now someone has refined it, it is unbelievable. The emergence of such masters in the Ming martial arts world is enough to be recorded in history, and it is the luck of countless martial artists. In the midst of lightning and fire, the Songyang's hand Fei Bin, Toda's hand Ding Mian, and Xian's hand Lu Bai died one after another. Their bodies were blasted into pieces, leaving not even a complete body, frightening a group of elite disciples of the Songshan sect. Qian Zhongsong, Shidingda, Wan Daping, and others wielded sharp swords and used the Song mountain swordsmanship. The atmosphere was solemn and majestic, as if thousands of soldiers and horses were rushing towards the figure of the Qini Luosha. The frost-cold sword pierced the vigorous energy of the Golden Bell's protective body, and a powerful countershock force came. The swords were released one after another, and the arms shook and felt numb and powerless. The next second, the Luosha ghost face came into view, only feeling a sharp pain in the chest, and the whole person's consciousness fell into darkness. More than a dozen elite disciples of the Songshan sect were all killed by Qiu Mingxuan in the blink of an eye, with corpses falling from the eaves to the courtyard of the Lu mansion one after another, causing the guests to be frightened into silence. Qiu Mingxuan stood on the roof, dressed in green clothes that looked like pine trees, with a Rakshasa ghost face on his face. His bright and lively eyes rolled around calmly and indifferently, scanning the crowd. His gaze was sharp, like a falcon, making people's hair stand up, shiver, scalp tingle, and hair stand on end. The next second, he leapt into the air, taking wonderful vigorous steps at his feet. He took several meters and stumbled on the roof, disappearing into the vast sky in just a few breaths. However, the smell of blood still lingered on the roof, with severed limbs and bones and flesh everywhere, making it nauseating. The yellow-clothed corpses in the courtyard left the guests silent and stunned, making them too scared to speak. In a short while, Lu Jingfeng's wife and daughter Lu Jing, accompanied by Chu Fian, entered the courtyard to search for Lu Jingfeng and recounted the incident in the backyard. Lu Jingfeng's face was horrified, and he exclaimed at the Song Mountain sect's plan to exterminate the sect. With the witness of the 5 sacred sword sect, martial arts heroes, and the 3 teachings and 9 rivers, a yellow-clothed corpse was brought out of the backyard, all with clear palm prints left on their bodies, shattered chest and ribs, and all 5 organs and 6 viscera being shaken and rotting. It was obvious that they were killed by the Qini Luosha. Zhuolingshan is so vicious, he's trying to exterminate my entire family. Lu Jingfeng wept and forcefully dragged the 5 sacred sword sect, martial arts heroes, and the 3 teachings to complete the final stage. Finally, he apologized to everyone, saying, "Today, as witnessed by all the heroes, my younger brother Lu Jingfeng has washed his hands with gold. I will only ask about the grievances of the martial arts world. From then on, I will only participate in General Lu Jingfeng. I will only obey the imperial court's long live order and move into the capital to live. We will never see each other again in this life. Wash your hands in a golden bowl, and make it look like this." The guests who came to observe the ceremony were all mixed with flavors, and the banquet was not in the mood to eat. They hurriedly left the banquet, and with Lu Jingfeng's personal apology, respectfully escorted them out. The next day, Lu Jingfeng's whole family traveled from Hengshan County, with large carriages and small horses, all the way north to the capital. The capital city, the prime place, is at the feet of the emperor. There are imperial lords such as the Genie Guard and the East Factory who suppress the martial arts world. Even idle Jianghu tycoons dare not commit crimes. Lu Jingfeng followed the path of the East Factory's eunuch Lu Jin and bought a counselor. Now, it is natural to enter the protection area of the East Factory and live in the capital city. Even if left cold, Zen is the leader of the Songshan sect, he cannot do anything to him. The elders of the demon sect, Chu Yang and Chu Fian, secretly sheltered their ancestors and grandchildren, and even moved into the capital with Lu Jingfeng, completely severing ties with the demon sect. Afterwards, Lu Zhengfeng and Chu Yangqin sang harmoniously and composed a song called Laughing in the Proud Jianghu. The Guangling scattered Qin score reappeared in the human world and quickly became a masterpiece in the capital, praised by the capital's high-ranking officials and even the Emperor Zhengde, becoming a wonder in the capital and even the world. The martial arts world also discussed it endlessly. However, when the Lu and Chu families enjoyed their glory and wealth, they always couldn't forget the figure of the Qingyi Luosha. They often interacted with the Genie Wei, a member of the Eastern Domain, and used court channels to collect information on the whereabouts of the Qingyi Luosha in the martial arts world. They silently looked forward to the day when they could meet their benefactor again in this lifetime. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. How High Mount Hua Is. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. How High Mount Hua Is. Mount Huashan, located in Huayin County, Essex Province, borders the Qinling Mountains to the south and overlooks the Huangwei River to the north. There has been a saying since ancient times that it is the most dangerous mountain in the world. At noon that day, on the secluded mountain road of Huashan, a person suddenly came along. They were wearing a blue shirt and a Rakshasa face mask, carrying a heavy burden on their shoulders. The burden was heavy at both ends, carrying heavy objects. He took wonderful vigorous steps at his feet, several meters away, as if walking flat on the steep mountain road. In the end, he arrived at the top of the Jade Maiden Peak in Huashan, a dangerous cliff where there was no grass or trees growing, only a cave. It was the place where all generations of disciples of the Huashan sect were imprisoned and punished for violating rules. This place is called Sigua Cliff by disciples of the Huashan sect, meaning contemplating one's own past. The man in blue with a face of Luo Cha was none other than Qiu Mingxuan. After leaving Hengshan City, he headed north to Shaanxi, fighting for the strong and supporting the weak. He gradually arrived in Huayin County, Essex Province, where he bought a table of wine and vegetables, 10 jars of fine wine, and carried a load to Mount Hua to pay respects to a martial arts senior. On the dangerous cliff, there is no grass or wood, no insects or birds, and the environment is quiet and ancient. It is indeed a place for meditation and cultivation. Qiu Mingxuan climbed up a dangerous cliff, feeling a pair of invisible gazes in the dark. His ears were filled with the sound of even and long breathing. It was obvious that the person who was peeping had profound internal skill cultivation and was a top-notch expert. Qiu Mingxuan's eyes were bright and lively. He came to the dangerous cliff and put down the heavy burden. From the food box at both ends of the burden, he took out 2 pairs of bowls and chopsticks, and sat on the table waiting for the banquet. There was a wide variety of chicken, duck, fish, and meat, very abundant. Immediately after, he took a jar of wine and patted off the sealing mud. The rich aroma of the wine overflowed. Qiu Mingxuan lifted the seal, and the clear and sweet wine poured down from the mouth of the jar, filling a sea bowl. Qiu Mingxuan looked up and drank. The Sichuan opera mask on his face changed from a Rakshasa ghost face to a 3-eyed divine general, and his facial features became more agile and vivid, as if he had painted makeup. The clear and sweet wine flowed down his lips without any makeup. In this way, Qiu Mingxuan sat on a dangerous cliff, drinking and eating meat without restraint, with a cheerful and unrestrained expression, not to the extreme. However, Qiu Mingxuan's actions left the hidden breeze and mist over his head, leaving him unsure of his true intentions. After waiting for a while, Feng Qingyang's throat surged and he swallowed his saliva secretly. Suddenly, he walked out of the darkness and slowly walked towards Qiu Mingxuan. "Are you waiting for someone?" Qiu Mingxuan turned his head and saw an old man with white beard and green robe suddenly appear on the dangerous cliff. He was thin and long, with a depressed expression and a face like gold paper. His voice was deep and his expression was bleak, seeming to contain infinite sadness, but there was a sense of authority in his tone, a restrained demeanor, and a hint of heroism in his eyes, indicating a high level of internal skill. "Yes. Qiu Mingxuan's voice was sharp and thin, as if in a theatrical tone, drifting into Feng Qingyang's ears, which surprised Feng Qingyang's eyebrows. He looked deeply at Qiu Mingxuan, feeling even more that his behavior was strange and not ordinary. "Are you waiting for me?" Feng Qingyang asked. "Yes," Qiu Mingxuan responded, bowing his head to drink and eat meat. He ate half of the table at the top banquet, and 3 empty wine jars were placed at his feet. His bold and unassuming attitude made Feng Qingyang even more curious. However, Feng Qingyang is a solitary and arrogant person. When he asked if Qiu Mingxuan was intentionally waiting for him, he didn't hesitate to come over and sit cross-legged. He picked up a wine jar, knocked off the ceiling mud and cloth, and then drank heavily with his head up. Refreshing. The wind was clear, and my eyes lit up. 30 years of Huayin old wine, you have taken a lot of trouble. Feng Qingyang is an old wine enthusiast, who can tell from just a taste that this is a unique persimmon wine from Huayin County, abbreviated as Huayin Old Wine. It is one of the top 10 famous wines in Essex province, collected from persimmons in the Qinling Mountains for brewing. It has been popular since the Sui and Tang dynasties and has been passed down to this day. It is a rare fine wine. Feng Qingyang drinks it in large gulps, and every jar of fine wine is consumed. On the dangerous cliff, there was an indescribable silence and eerie atmosphere. A man in blue, painted with the theatrical face of a 3-eyed divine general, drank and ate meat with an elderly man in a white-bearded and green-robed robe, but remained silent. It was truly a strange and extraordinary event. In a short moment, he was full of wine and food, and the wind was clear and caressing his white beard. His eyes were bright and lively, and he said in a deep voice, "Thank you very much for your hospitality. I wonder what's going on here. I heard that the elders of the sword sect of the Huashan sect are elegant and talented. They have learned the southern song Sword Demon Dugu Qiu defeats Dugu 9 swords. I am here to seek advice and want to try how high Huashan is." A sharp and delicate tune drifted into Feng Qingyang's ear, making him burst into laughter. "I never expected that even though I have retired from the martial arts world for many years, my deeds are still circulating in the world. I do know, Dugu Jiujin. If you want to give it a try, then come on." Feng Qingyang raised his hand and unleashed a powerful palm force from the air, shattering a huge blue stone in front of the cave with a loud bang, shattering it into powder. However, strangely enough, the stone powder flew all over the sky and heard the crisp sound of sword sounds. Surprisingly, a divine sword was born, and Feng Qingyang used his energy to control the sword, rolling it into his palm. Good internal skills, good weapons. Qiu Mingxuan's eyes lit up and he couldn't help but admire in a theatrical tone. He suddenly lifted his sleeve and wiped his face, transforming his 3-eyed divine into a black and white judge. His black and white face exuded a fierce aura, and Qiu Mingxuan stepped on the ground, shooting his entire body out like a shell, at an incredible speed that startled Feng Qingyang. The wind is clear, lifting the sleeves and brushing the sword, subconsciously using the breaking palm technique. The ancient sword of Sungwen has a clear and dazzling light, with cold air invading people. The sword light is like snow training, with a scorching cold light and a murderous aura spreading throughout. In the clear and shocked eyes of the wind, Qiu Mingxuan didn't dodge or avoid, but instead directly confronted the sword with his flesh palm, almost eager to die. Dang! In the clear breeze, Dugu Jiujian's 9 swords were invincible without any moves. They were indeed very exquisite, with a flashing sword light that could predict the movements in advance. In front of Qiu Mingxuan's palm wind approaching, he promptly lifted his sword and cut it towards his wrist. The sword's radiant is precise, just like Qiu Mingxuan's palm falling against his blade, ready to be cut off by the blade. However, the next second, in the shock of Feng Qingyang's gaze, the pine-patterned ancient sword seemed to cut through hard gold and stone, creating a string of sparks. A powerful recoil force came from it, causing Feng Qingyang's wrist to ache. The sword flew away with a swoosh, plunging into the hard mountain wall, missing most of its body, leaving only the hilt outside. At the same time, a dazzling golden light erupted from Qiu Mingxuan's body, and the protective energy gushed out from his pores, condensing into a protective golden bell. With a loud roar, the wind blew away. Puff! Feng Qingyang looked up and sprayed blood, his body flying backwards for several meters, and with a loud bang, he hit the stone wall, causing secondary damage to his body. His internal organs were in severe pain, and he vomited fresh blood, soaking his chest and blue robe. Upon closer inspection, the dirty blood contained fragmented flesh, as if his internal organs had been shattered. After landing, his face was like golden paper, and his lips were pitch black, as if he was critically injured and on the brink of death. Qiu Mingxuan stopped. He tested his martial arts skills and was truly a peerless master with profound internal strength and sharp swordsmanship. He was considered a first-class figure in the martial arts world, but unfortunately, his level was far from his, and with just one strike, he almost killed him. Qiu Mingxuan watched him quietly without any movement, as he had no internal strength and could not heal injuries. Fortunately, the wind is clear and the internal power is profound, containing a self-healing effect. The meridians in the body gradually stabilize, and the true qi and internal power cycle back and forth. The state of being seriously injured and on the brink of death is much relieved, and the strange blush on the face returns. Cough, cough, cough. After a while, Feng Qingyang regained consciousness and stood up from the ground, looking at Qiu Mingxuan with a complex expression. What a monster! Unexpectedly, you have mastered the horizontal training technique of Golden Bell Mask. Fortunately, I am a swordsman. If I had just used my fists and feet, I'm afraid I would have been shocked to death by your protective spirit. Speaking of which, Feng Qingyang lifted her sleeves, wiped the blood stains from the corners of her mouth, and couldn't help but shake her head and smile bitterly. I almost lost half of my life for a meal of wine and meat. My lifelong reputation has been ruined now. Qiu Mingxuan remained silent and saw that the wind was clear and fine, so he clasped his fists and bowed before turning around and drifting away. As Feng Qingyang watched him disappear into the vast mountains, he couldn't help but feel lonely and went back to the cave to recuperate. From generation to generation, talented people have emerged, each leading the way for hundreds of years. This world is not my world anymore. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Ascending Mount Song and Entering Shaolin. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The source has no content or has errors. Chapter 5. Gushan Meizhuang. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. Gushan Meizhuang, Amitabha Buddha. Master Fang Zheng recited the Buddha's name, and in an instant, he turned his mind 3,000 times. He couldn't help but slap his hand and salute, saying, unexpectedly, it turned out to be a visit from the famous Qingyi Luosha in the martial arts world. I, the poor monk Fang Zheng, am honored as the abbot of Shaolin Temple. Please do not blame me for any improper hospitality. Abbot, you're welcome. It's the younger generation who came uninvited, disturbing the cleanliness of your temple. Qiu Mingxuan bowed back, his theatrical tone coming from behind his face. What have you gained from infiltrating my sutra pavilion, benefactor? Master Fang Zheng smiled kindly and showed no signs of anger. Shaolin Temple is worthy of being the best in the Wulin. The secret collection of martial arts in the Sutra Pavilion is all-inclusive and eye-opening. Qiu Mingxuan responded with a theatrical voice and humbled the founder. Very good, very good. Master Fang Zheng smiled kindly and said, benefactor, if you can refine the Golden Bell Mask into the 12 levels, it shows that there is a great Buddha connection. If our temple can provide some help, it will be an immeasurable merit, and I can only feel joy in my heart. Master, don't you blame me for stealing books. Qiu Mingxuan retorted. Amitabha Buddha, all books and scriptures in the world are meant to increase wisdom through reading. However, There are those who are gifted with intelligence, able to read the true meaning in the books, suddenly realize it, and become Buddha on the ground. There are those who are gifted with foolishness, and after reading them, they are ignorant, like chewing wax, unable to see their true selves, and unaware of their Buddha nature. Even worse, they are obsessed with the power of martial arts, misled by evil obstacles, and never achieve good results in their lifetime. Therefore, Buddhism has established rules to block those who have no chance outside the Sutra Pavilion. The benefactor is able to refine the golden bell cover into the 12 levels, indicating a great opportunity for the Buddha's nature. Therefore, it is not included in this list. Qiu Mingxuan nodded as he listened, instinctively wanting to praise him, but as he spoke, he suddenly realized and sarcastically said, "Master Feng Zheng is so sophistical. It's clear that he can't beat me. That's why he said that. Your benefactor, that's the same reasoning." Master Feng Zheng smiled, with a kind expression on his face, exuding the demeanor of a virtuous monk, completely devoid of the embarrassment of being exposed. With this shameless kung fu alone, Qiu Mingxuan secretly praised him. Truly worthy of being the abbot of Shaolin Temple. Master Feng Zheng's debate is unparalleled. I can't say anything about you. The opera tune came from behind the Luo Cha facial mask, and Qiu Mingxuan stared at Master Feng Zheng and said in a deep voice, "Since you have discovered it, I will not defend myself. It is just Shaolin martial arts, with the first recommended ones being the Qi Qin Yin and Shi Sui Jing. May I see them?" Master Feng Zheng smiled and said, "Of course, if you want to read the Qi Qin Jing and Shi Sui Jing, you can do it. However, this scripture is not just a general martial arts skill, but a supreme Zen Buddhist concept that was realized by Bodhisattva after 9 years of facing the wall. The martial arts are inferior, and the realization of becoming a Buddha is superior. If you want to see it, the poor monk can give it to you, but you need to stay in the scripture storage room, fully read the Buddhist scriptures to increase wisdom and Buddha's light. I wonder if you are willing to do so. Do you want me to stay and become a monk?" Qiu Mingxuan frowned, feeling that Master Feng Zheng was difficult to deal with and truly worthy of being the abbot of Shaolin Temple. In just a few words, he laid a trap for him, and suddenly felt resistant to leaving. Well, Master Feng Zheng is cunning. As a newcomer to the martial arts world, I can't count on you. After speaking, Qiu Mingxuan tiptoed a little and leaped up the wall of the Zen temple, like a shell, leaping step by step and disappearing into the vast sky. The Shaolin monk's figure moved and he was about to run after him, but he was angrily shouted by Master Feng Zheng in a deep voice, "Stay." In an instant, the Shaolin temple monk stopped moving. "Abbot." A disciple hesitated, but heard Master Feng Zheng look in the direction of Qiu Mingxuan's disappearance and say in a deep voice, "This person has unparalleled martial arts skills and has refined the golden bell mask into the 12 levels. Unless the Bodhisattva is reincarnated and cannot be subdued by him, chasing after him will only be a waste of life. Let him go, Amitabha." Unfortunately, we were unable to lure him to stay with the Qi Qin Jing and Shi Sui Jing, otherwise, our Shaolin Zen sect will have another Buddhist ancestor. Master Feng Zheng shook his head with regret, then coughed slightly twice before turning back to his room and closing the door to heal his injuries. Despite being the culmination of Master Feng Zheng's practice of the Yi Jin Jing, Qiu Mingxuan's powerful palms were still severely injured, causing slight pain in his internal organs. He just gritted his teeth and endured it. The 12 levels of golden bell cover are indeed powerful. Master Feng Zheng sighed. Coming down from Shaolin Temple, Qiu Mingxuan traveled south to Zhejiang province, fighting for justice and eliminating violence, gradually arriving at West Lake in Hangzhou. However, he saw 3 green mountains, 1 lake with green water, a painting boat tavern, a water pavilion, and a beautiful scenery. In Qiantang, Jiangsu, and Zhejiang, there are many outstanding people and beautiful women. It is through the misty rain that Qiu Mingxuan walked on a broken bridge, holding an oil paper umbrella, and also fantasized about whether there would be a white lady to meet him. Unfortunately, with people coming and going, Qiu Mingxuan's mood was lonely and detached, appearing out of place with this world. I'm just a passerby in the martial arts world. Qiu Mingxuan sighed and suddenly held up an oiled paper umbrella, searching for someone to inquire about his destination, and arrived outside a mountain villa. This villa, located near the West Lake, is called Plum Blossom 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 Blossom. The estate covers a large area and is adjacent to Yu Yinwen's inscription. It is an extremely elegant place. The villa owner is skilled in the 4 arts of qin, chess, calligraphy, and painting, and is known as the 4 Friends of Jiangnan in Hangzhou. The people he interacts with are all famous scholars from Jiangnan, and it can be said that there are great scholars in conversation and laughter, and there are no ordinary people in communication. Qiu Mingxuan folded up his oil paper umbrella and was covered in invisible energy, preventing the drizzle from getting on his body. He leaped over the wall of Meizhuang and sneaked inside, holding his breath and heartbeat, exploring the environment of Gushan Meizhuang. In no time, Qiu Mingxuan arrived at a secret room, where all the hidden wines of Danqingsheng, one of the 4 friends of Jiangnan, were hidden. It's cheaper for me. Danqing is naturally fond of wine and excels in swordsmanship and painting skills. This wine room houses all the famous wines in the world, even those in the imperial palace cannot compare. Anyone who has good wine will definitely find it a treasure. Qiu Mingxuan is no exception. He grabbed a wine jar, patted off the ceiling mud and cloth, and then drank it with his head up. The pure and sweet wine flowed down his throat into his stomach, and he gulped down the essence. The wine soaked his chest and clothes along his lips, emitting a strong aroma of wine. Qiu Mingxuan's alcohol tolerance is too frightening. When he refined the golden bell mask into the 12 levels, alcohol automatically transformed into 1,000 cups of wine, making him truly intoxicated. At this moment, he grabbed a jar of fine wine, no matter how expensive or famous it was, or how many years it had been cherished by Danqingsheng. He only poured it into his stomach in one breath, as if pouring it backwards like a river. The rich aroma of the wine quickly filled the entire secret room. "Hey, where did you get the aroma of the wine?" Suddenly, a sound of suspicion came from outside the secret room. A bearded and bellied scholar in a blue robe hastily took out the key to open the room. However, the sight in front of him made Danqing's blood boil and he almost fainted. A strange man with a golden 3-eyed divine general's face painted, sat up on a wine box, grabbed a barrel of wine, and drank wildly with his lips aligned. The bright red wine flowed down the corners of his lips, soaking his chest and clothes. "My 4 steamed and 4 brewed wine, which I exchanged with the swordsman Mo Werch of the western regions with 3 sword techniques." Danqing was angry and gnashing his teeth, as if he were a madman. He suddenly took out his sword and stabbed the wine thief with a clang. A sword pierced, as if painting with splashing ink. It was Danqingsheng's unique skill of splashing ink and wrapping hemp sword technique. Qiu Mingxuan remained motionless and took a sword from him. The sharp steel sword pierced his chest, piercing through Qingyi, but did not pierce his heart. Instead, it let out a clang, as if piercing into an iron stone, sending a huge recoil that caused Danqingsheng's wrist to ache. The sword slipped and flew, falling to the ground. Fortunately, Qiu Mingxuan restrained his inner strength and did not let the protective golden bell trigger. Otherwise, the protective vigorous energy would shake and the Danqing might be killed by the shock. After drinking a bucket of 4 steamed and 4 brewed wine, Qiu Mingxuan wiped the corner of his mouth and looked at Danqingsheng, saying, "You came just right. With wine, how can we have no friends? Do you want to drink together? Dog thief, no way." Danqingsheng was furious and couldn't help but curse loudly. Although he recognized the identity of the Qingyi Rakshasa, and knew that his martial arts were not strong enough to defeat the wine thief, stealing and drinking his hidden wine was like killing his parents. This grudge was unforgettable, and he couldn't expect Danqingsheng to surrender. Qiu Mingxuan frowned and suddenly pointed, poking his acupoint in Danqingsheng's frightened gaze, securing his body. Since you don't want to, let's just watch. Qiu Mingxuan did not kill anyone. Stealing wine is an elegant matter, so killing someone is too much. Entering the lonely mountain plum blossom manor, Qiu Mingxuan also showed some elegance. How could he do such a shameful thing? Then, Danqing became angry and gritted his teeth, regretting it to the extreme. Watching all his precious wine be consumed by the Qingyi Luosha, Danqingsheng's heart was dripping with blood, wishing he could slap himself to death. If he had known this, he should have agreed to the thief's request. Unfortunately, his acupoint was blocked, and Danqingsheng could not speak or move. He could only watch the Qingyi Luosha drink wildly, ruining a jar of fine wine. Oh my goodness, let me die. Danqingsheng roared in his heart. In the despairing gaze of Danqingsheng, Qingyi Luosha drank up all the precious wine in the secret room without stopping in one breath. Finally, with a satisfied smile, he patted Danqingsheng's shoulder as if nothing had happened and comforted him. The wine is good. I'll come back and relieve your acupoint. After speaking, he drifted out of the wine storage room, locked the door of the room, and sneaked into the Gushan Meizhuang to explore the location of the West Lake dungeon. In no time, he noticed something unusual and drifted into a rockery entrance. The secret passage was narrow and dark, damp and cold. Qiu Mingxuan broke into the secret passage, but flew swiftly like walking on a flat ground. After completing the 12 levels of Golden Bell Mask, he has an astonishing sensitivity to his 5 senses and 6 senses, possessing various incredible powers. Among them, it includes dark night vision objects. His eyes were bright and lively in the darkness, as if it were day, with every trace visible. There were 3 levels in total, 1 wooden door, 1 iron door, and 1 refined steel door. However, in front of Qiu Mingxuan, they all seemed like paper paste, and with a single punch, the door locks of the levels were all shattered, effortless. What kind of person? The Meizhuang dungeon leads directly to the bottom of West Lake and is the prison where the previous leader of the demon cult, Ren Wuxing, was imprisoned. Jiangnan Xiu is a prison guard stationed in Meizhuang by Dongfang Bubi. Among them, Zi, the second among the 4 friends in Jiangnan, coveted the star-absorbing technique martial arts skills that allowed him to act recklessly and repeatedly demanded from him. Qiu Mingxuan saw his strange behavior and followed him all the way. At this moment, in the dungeon of West Lake, Yizhi, as usual, brought fine wine and food to Ren Wuxing, serving him like an old master, saying all kinds of good words and being careful with him, trying to use the martial arts of star-absorbing technique. However, let me be cunning and cunning, just indulging in food and drink, casually perfunctory with black and white. Yizhi was furious and, as usual, became angry at Ren Wuxing, threatening him. Unfortunately, Ren Wuxing went his own way and ignored him. While the 2 sides were deadlocked, there were suddenly several loud noises, like a landslide and a rock crack, coming from the secret passage. Yizhi and Ren Wuxing's faces changed, and they couldn't help but look towards the entrance of the secret passage. The next second, a man in blue, wearing a Rakshasa mask, suddenly drifted into the dungeon of West Lake. With the dim light of the torch, he rushed towards black and white like a ghost, lightning fast. Qingyi Raksha. Black and White's face changed greatly. Seeing Qiu Mingxuan's figure, he recognized his identity as the green-clothed Rakshasa, and exclaimed in shock for 4 words. Then he saw the green-clothed Rakshasa rushing in front of him, quickly condensing his sword fingers, containing powerful internal power. He pointed out that the wind was fierce and the cold was pressing. It was Black and White's ultimate skill, the Xiantian finger. Bang! Qiu Mingxuan clapped his palm and met Yizhi's Xiantian finger. With a loud thud, Yizhi let out a mournful scream, his fingers exploding and scattering bones and flesh all over the sky. Qiu Mingxuan slapped Yizhi horizontally and imprinted it on his chest. Yizhi's scream came to an abrupt end, and he fell into the pool with a thud. Too fast. In the midst of lightning and fire, Qiu Mingxuan killed Zi, which shocked Ren Wuxing. This person's martial arts were strange, as if he had not used his internal power, but purely relied on his physical external strength. When did such a peerless master appear in the martial arts world? Ren Wuxing was pierced through the pipa bone and imprisoned in the Jinggang dungeon. Qiu Mingxuan took a deep breath and punched the Jinggang prison door with a loud punch, causing the dungeon to shake and make a rumbling sound, as if it were an earthquake. Ren Wuxing's expression was shocked and he said, "What terrifying fist power! This person's martial arts are not inferior to mine." End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Sword Qi Qin Yin. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Sword Qi Qin Yin. The West Lake dungeon roared and shook like an earthquake. Qiu Mingxuan violently opened the door and entered the cell. The air inside the prisoner's cell was murky, and a disheveled prisoner had his neck, wrists, and ankles all locked in fine steel shackles. Iron chains were inserted into the walls, trapping him in the cell and preventing him from moving. Not only that, even his pipa bones were pierced by a pair of precision steel grappling hooks, looking pitiful and terrifying. From various arrangements, it can be seen that Ren Wuxing's martial arts skills are so high that even the Eastern Invincible is deeply afraid. Black and White Sun's attempt to trade with this person is really scheming with a tiger. He died unjustly. Qiu Mingxuan walked over and entered the Jinggang prison. His colorful and eerie Rakshasa face made Ren Wuxing wary. He stared at Qiu Mingxuan, only to see him lift his hand and uproot the iron chain that had been pierced into the wall. "Are you here to save me?" Ren Wuxing's eyes suddenly shone brightly, staring closely at Qiu Mingxuan. Qiu Mingxuan remained silent and pulled out the iron chain by the roots. He then walked over to break the shackles of Ren Wuxing, leaving clear finger marks on the shiny black steel shackles, which were terrifying. Ren Wuxing's pupils shrank, and an endless sense of fear rose in his heart. When did such a peerless master appear in the martial arts world? He is completely unaware of it. What a strange thing. During the process of physical contact, a suction force was transmitted from Ren Wuxing's body, as if to pass through his skin and suck up Qiu Mingxuan's internal energy completely. Qiu Mingxuan's eyes remained calm, as if he had not felt this suction force, and he let Ren Wuxing do it. "You actually don't have internal strength," Ren Wuxing exclaimed, as if seeing something strange. "Without any internal strength, he will break into the West Lake dungeon, kill Yizhi, and rescue him. What level of external skill cultivation has this person reached?" Ren Wuxing's fear grew stronger, and a slightly imperceptible killing intent flickered in his eyes. The star-absorbing technique specializes in defeating internal skill masters in the martial arts world, but it has no power over horizontal practice masters. At this moment, in Ren Wuxing's heart, this strange person wearing a Rakshasa mask has become his formidable enemy in unifying the martial arts world. Unless he can join the ranks of the Holy Church. So, Ren Wuxing doesn't mind handing over the position of vice leader to this person. At the mention of the deputy leader, Ren Wuxing's face turned ugly, as if he had touched a taboo, and his eyes burst with a murderous intent. "Dongfang Bubi, when I return to the martial arts world, I will surely cut you 1,000 times to vent my hatred. Let me roar inwardly." Qiu Mingxuan's eyes were calm, as if he had not noticed the fleeting killing intent. He instinctively opened all the shackles and hooks of Ren Wuxing, as if trapped in a dragon, and released him from the abyss. Puff! The fine steel grappling hook penetrated the bone of the pipa and had already adhered to the flesh and bone. It was gently pulled out by Qiu Mingxuan, splashing blood and flesh. Ren Wuxing's face turned pale, and he was sweating profusely, but he gritted his teeth and refused to shout. This made Qiu Mingxuan secretly nod, truly worthy of being the leader of the demon cult, and truly resolute and extraordinary. "Let's go." Qiu Mingxuan turned around, and the eerie tune came from behind the Luo Cha face mask. He quickly ran and flew into the secret passage, disappearing without a trace. Coming out of the secret passage, Qiu Mingxuan returned to the wine storage room, unlocked the Danqingsheng acupoint, and immediately rushed out of the room. He ran up to the roof of Meizhuang and watched a black-haired prisoner run out at the entrance of the rockery. Ah! Coming out of the secret passage, Ren Wuxing's expression was excited, and he couldn't help but look up and howl, venting his pleasure in his chest. The warm sunshine shone on his face, and he closed his eyes to enjoy the long-lost warmth of his body. Let me exhale like thunder, my voice containing strong internal power, slowly echoing through the plum blossom village without stopping for a long time. Danqingsheng had just come out of the wine storage room and was about to desperately search for the Qinyi Raksha when he heard the deafening long whistle. His mind couldn't help but be agitated, his internal strength surging incessantly, and his face changed. He held his sword and ran towards the sound. Not just him. The masters of Meizhuang rushed together into the garden rockery. Huang Zhonggong, the Grand Villa leader, Tubaiweng, the Third Villa leader, Ding Jian, the top guard one-character electric sword, and Shilingwei, the Five Paths god, among others. These people have extremely high martial arts skills and use their lightness skills to rush for Meizhuang. Soon, they arrived at the rockery in the garden and saw a black-haired old man, resembling a prisoner, howling up to the sky. This person has a very tall figure, a long face, a snow-white complexion, and even less blood, like a zombie just crawled out of a grave. Huang Zhonggong, Bald Pen Wang, and Dan Qingxing couldn't help but change their faces when they saw this, and couldn't help but exclaim in shock. Let me do it, how did you escape? Upon hearing these words, Ding Jian and Shilingwei couldn't help but be shocked and looked at the old man with black hair in terror. They never thought that this person was actually the "let me do it," the long-lost leader of the previous generation of the demon cult in the martial arts world. Judging from his appearance, it seemed like he had been imprisoned underground for a long time. Ding Jian and Shilingwei were horrified and couldn't help but shiver. The shadow of the famous tree of human beings, the reputation of the previous leader of the demon cult, is well known in the martial arts world. Ding Jian and Shilingwei have low abilities and cannot even defeat the four villa leaders. How can they dare to smooth the tiger beard of, "let me do it"? At this moment, I am terrified and have lost 3% of my courage. No, where's the second brother? At this moment, the three friends from Jiangnan appeared together, but only the black and white ones were nowhere to be seen. Huang Zhonggong's face slightly changed, and some ominous thoughts appeared. Upon hearing these words, Bald Pen Wang, Dan Qingxing, Ding Jian, and Shilingwei also thought of this possibility and couldn't help but shiver. Hee, that idiot black and white has already been killed by my good brother. Why don't you kneel down and beg for mercy? Ren Wuxing was domineering and aloof, with a pair of fierce tiger eyes, staring closely at Huang Zhonggong and the others, deliberately turning his head and looking towards the roof. Huang Zhonggong and his companions were shocked. Following his gaze, they saw a proud figure dressed in green clothes on the roof, with a Rakshasa face mask on his face. His calm and indifferent gaze was fixed on this spot. Seeing this person, Huang Zhonggong and others were shocked and said, "Qinyi Luosha." Ren Wuxing raised his thick eyebrows and saw Huang Zhonggong and others recognize the identity of the Qinyi Raksha. He was even more afraid than seeing him, and couldn't help but feel jealous and angry. He became even more curious about the identity of the Qinyi Raksha. What exactly is this person's identity, and how can Huang Zhonggong and others be even more scared when they see him than when they see themselves? Ren Wuxing was holding back a wave of anger and couldn't wait to figure out whether the identity of the Qinyi Raksha was an enemy or a friend. Oh no! Huang Zhonggong and others had serious expressions, realizing that the situation was not good. With only one person left to their own devices, they felt like they were facing a great enemy. Coupled with a green-clothed Rakshasa, do they still have a way to survive today? Unexpectedly, the famous Qinyi Raksha in the martial arts world was actually a disciple of my holy sect. Before Huang Zhong finished speaking, he saw a scene of opera falling from the roof, I'm not a member of the demon cult." As soon as these words were spoken, both Huang Zhonggong and others, as well as Ren Wuxing, were stunned for a moment before their faces changed. Huang Zhonggong and others were overjoyed and allowed us to act as if facing a great enemy. "Your Excellency is not a disciple of our holy cult, why should you save and let me do it? This person kills people like a horse, full of evil, and is the most heinous demon in the martial arts world. I heard that the green-clothed Rakshasa eradicates violence and acts in a righteous and chivalrous manner, and must not fall into the schemes of old thieves." Huang Zhonggong was spirited and advised Qiu Mingxuan hard. "I saved him to kill him," Qiu Mingxuan said. As soon as these words were spoken, Huang Zhonggong and others were puzzled and allowed me to shrink my gaze. They clenched their fists and displayed a murderous aura. "Your Excellency, what does this mean?" Huang Zhonggong inquired and said. "Ren Wuxing is the top expert in the world, with a star-sucking technique that allows me to roam the martial arts world alone. When I travel in the martial arts world, I have to fight against such a peerless expert. Unfortunately, this person has been imprisoned for many years, his pipa bone has been pierced, and his martial power is no longer the same as before. I can only save him. When his injury recovers, I will kill him again." "Very rare," Qiu Mingxuan explained a few more words. As soon as Huang Zhonggong and others uttered these words, they suddenly realized that Ren Wuxing also knew the purpose of the Qi Raksha to save him. They couldn't help but laugh up and say, "Ha ha ha, it's really interesting that such a wonderful person as you was born in the martial arts world. Once I recover from my injuries, I will definitely compete with you." Ren Wuxing is the top expert in the world, with a domineering and arrogant personality. Hearing Qiu Mingxuan's challenge, he couldn't help but feel a strong sense of war. He wanted to recover from his injuries and kill the Qi Raksha to prove his return as the king. After listening to the explanation of Qi Luosha, Huang Zhonggong and others felt a little uneasy. Since Qi Luosha intended to kill, it would be much easier. Even in the case of Dongfang Bubi, there could be a reason to perfunctory. Thinking about this, Huang Zhonggong and others glanced at each other, and couldn't help but feel the war subside in their eyes, rising a sense of letting go. Ren Wuxing couldn't help but snort coldly when he saw the eyes of the three friends of Jiangnan, Ding Jian, and Shirling Wei. His expression was disdainful, but he also understood that his injury was not healed and it was not good to fight against the three friends of Jiangnan. He took out the domineering aura of the previous leader of the demon cult and proudly said, "Today, I spare your life. Tell Dongfang Bubi that the thief will surely be killed on the Blackwood Cliff when I recover from his injuries, and cut him to pieces and take back everything that belongs to me." After speaking, he ignored the three friends of Jiangnan and took a deep breath. He used his exquisite lightness skills as if a great pang had spread its wings, leaping onto the wall with a few undulating flashes, and quickly disappeared into the vast sky. Qiu Mingxuan chased on the roof with his wonderful vigorous steps, following Ren Wuxing and quickly disappearing. Only Huang Zhonggong and others remained, silently breathed a sigh of relief, looked at each other, and smiled bitterly together. "This is a disaster. If you get lost, let me go. The Eastern sect leader will definitely blame you. Let's discuss countermeasures and report to Haimu Cliff." Luoyang City, formerly known as the Divine Capital, is located in the western part of the Hunan provincial government, spanning the north and south banks of the middle and lower reaches of the Yellow River. In history, 13 dynasties have established their capitals here, and it still flourished during the Jingde period of the Ming dynasty. After leaving the Plum Blossom village in West Lake, Ren Wuxing dared not stay in Jiangnan for a long time. He arrested several lower levels of the demon cult and carefully searched for a lot of information about the martial arts world, making up for the information gap he had been imprisoned for many years. He also learned about the specific rumors of the Qi Luosha and was shocked by his mastery of the Golden Bell Mask to the top of the 12 levels. His fear grew stronger in his heart, but Qiu Mingxuan followed Ren Wuxing quietly, as if there was a sense of waiting for him to recover. This made Ren Wuxing feel a little relieved and headed north to Luoyang City to search for the Holy Sister, Ren Yingying. After being betrayed by Asia the Invincible, Ren Wuxing developed a suspicious personality in his cell. After escaping from the Meizhuang dungeon, he dared not stay in Jiangnan much longer, let alone trust others. Only his biological daughter, Ren Yingying, seemed to be trustworthy and wanted to use her holy ant power to regain his own power. As for Qi Raksha, he is currently not an opponent and can only recover from his injuries while thinking about countermeasures. Luoyang City, with 3 streets and 6 markets, is bustling. At the end of a quiet street in the south of the city, there is a cluster of green bamboo planted, swaying in the wind, elegant and natural, known as Green Bamboo Lane, in Luoyang. As soon as Ren Wuxing and Qiu Mingxuan stepped into the street, they heard the sound of the qin ding dong, and someone was playing it. What a sword Qi Qin sound! Ren Wuxing not only excels in martial arts, but also has research in techniques such as qin, chess, calligraphy, painting, poetry, etiquette, and music. Stopping and listening at this moment, he couldn't help but marvel, his tiger eyes sparkling with excitement. Obviously, he had already guessed who the person playing the piano was. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Purple Cloud Secret Collection. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7 Purple Cloud Secret Collection. As I stepped into the bamboo forest, I saw 5 small houses in front of me, 2 on the left and 3 on the right, all made of thick bamboo. A handsome young man with a rectangular face and thin lips and sword eyebrows was dancing his sword. The sword is shining with a resounding sound. With the sound of the qin, this person's swordsmanship is amazing, light and agile, just like the 2 swallows dancing among the willows in spring, high and low, turning left and right as desired. It is precisely the famous Huashan swordsmanship. But the sound of the qin tinkled, and the handsome young man's swordsmanship changed. Sometimes there were always novel sword styles, containing complex mysteries. Even a peerless master like Ren Wuxing, seeing the changes in the handsome young man's swordsmanship, couldn't help but be shocked and amazed. He felt that the power was unparalleled, unlike ordinary swordsmanship, and was secretly amazed. Who is this person? It's unbelievable that there has been such a change in Huashan's sword technique. At the same time, as Ren Wuxing stepped into the bamboo forest, there was a sudden clang, a string of the qin broke off, and the sound of the qin stopped. Suddenly, 2 figures rushed out of the bamboo grove. A woman in white, with a graceful figure and a white veil on her face, as if a fairy had descended to earth, was none other than Ren Yingying, the saint of the demon cult. The other one is short in stature, wearing a green robe, and is exactly the green bamboo Wang. Dad! Ren Yingying's eyes were burning, staring closely at Ren Wuxing, as if he couldn't believe it, his voice suppressing excitement. Master Uncle! The green bamboo Wang also exclaimed in shock. Huh, good daughter, Daddy is back. Ren Wuxing's heart was stirred, and he couldn't help but burst out laughing with a bold tone, faintly showing the excitement of father-daughter reunion. He instinctively took a few steps. Dad! Finally, Ren Yingying confirmed her identity, and suddenly, with a slight toe, a graceful figure in white rushed into Ren Wuxing's arms. As if a wanderer had returned home, he couldn't help but burst into tears. Ren Wuxing was imprisoned by Dongfang Bubi for many years, and consciously owed his daughter a lot. He couldn't help but touch her back and gently comfort her. After a while, Ren Yingying regained his composure and his gaze swept over Ren Wuxing. He looked at a man in green clothes wearing a Rakshasa mask behind him and said in surprise, Dad, how are you with the Rakshasa in green clothes? This matter is a long story. Ren Wuxing turned around and looked at the silent Qi Raksha, with a sense of fear and killing in his eyes. Who is this person? He is skilled in swordsmanship and perfectly matches my daughter's piano voice. Suddenly, Ren Wuxing pointed at the handsome young man, his eyes shining brightly, as if he were looking at his son. Carefully examining. He is. Ren Yingying was about to explain, only to hear the handsome young man bow with his sword and respectfully say, "I am Ling Huchong, the head disciple of the lower Huashan sect. I pay my respects to the old master." Huashan sect. Ren Wuxing was stunned for a moment. Looking at her daughter in surprise, I don't know how she got mixed up with the disciples of the Huashan sect. However, Ren Wuxing is not a pedant person, and the women of the demon sect are even more free to do as they please. As long as their daughter likes it, the disciples of the Huashan sect will do whatever it takes. As long as they switch to the holy sect, Ren Wuxing is also willing to fulfill their daughter's wishes. Okay. Ren Wuxing laughed loudly and looked at Ling Huchong in admiration, obviously extremely satisfied with Ling Huchong's swordsmanship and martial arts. "Ling Hu young master, today my father and daughter are reunited, and I am afraid we cannot continue to entertain you. Please come back first, and I will make amends the next day." Ren Yingying tactfully persuaded Ling Huchong to leave, as the conversation between the father and daughter involved the secrets of the sun and moon cult and could not be made known to Ling Huchong. Yes, I know. Ling Huchong nodded repeatedly, clasped his fists and bowed. With a clang of his long sword, he sheathed it and turned away with great elegance. After Ling Huchong left, Ren Yingying looked at Qingyi Luosha again, showing a sense of vigilance. "Don't bother with him." Ren Wuxing's expression was solemn. Along the way, he had become accustomed to the presence of the Qingyi Raksha and knew he couldn't avoid him. So, Ren Wuxing simply ignored him and went into the bamboo grove to discuss matters with Ren Yingying and Green Bamboo Wang. Qiu Mingxuan's eyes were calm, standing outside the bamboo grove elegant house, waiting quietly and naturally. Luoyang City, west of the city. A luxurious mansion covering an extremely large area, with a golden painted plaque reading, "Brave in the face of righteousness," and the signature being someone from the Hunan governor. There were 2 large copper rings on the door, shining brilliantly. 8 strong men stood outside with their hands down, staring at the pedestrians on the street. This is the residence of the invincible King Yuan Ba with the golden blade. After the ceremony of Lu Jingfeng washing his hands in the golden basin, the Huashan sect returned to Huashan. As a result, the disciples of Huashan sword sect, Fengbubu, Chengbuyu, and Songbuqi, led their disciples to the Huashan Jingqi Hall and attempted to seize the foundation of Huashan. However, Yubu Kun and Ning Zhong were defeated. The first disciple of Huashan ordered Huchong to return from the Sigua cliff and suddenly faced the enemy Qingbuyu, defeating them with Dugujujian, shocking everyone. Qingbuyu was cunning, pretended to give up, suddenly launched a surprise attack, and used despicable means to slap Ling Huchong seriously. At this moment, 6 strange people descended from the sky, tearing Qingbuyu into pieces, and a shower of blood terrified Huashan. 6 strange people had extremely high martial arts skills, even Yu Buchuan and Ning Zhongzi were defeated. They suddenly took Ling Huchong away, but on the way, they were mistakenly killed by Ling Huchong and hurriedly ran down the mountain. Ling Huchong returned to the mountain, and Yu Buchuan felt uneasy. He interrogated Ling Huchong about the origin of his swordsmanship, but Ling Huchong remained silent, which angered Yu Buchuan. Ling Huchong was imprisoned and his 6th disciple, Lu Dayo, was placed under supervision. During this process, Yu Buchuan feared that the 6 immortals of Peach Valley would return to Huashan to seek revenge, so he decided to go down the mountain on a large scale, travel the rivers and lakes, and temporarily avoid this disaster. Unexpectedly, as soon as the members of the Huashan sect descended from the mountain, Yu Lingshan, the junior sister of the Huashan sect, stole the Purple Cloud secret collection at night and secretly handed it over to Ling Huchong upon returning to Huashan. She wanted him to cultivate the Purple Cloud divine skill and dissolve the exotic true Qi in his body. This time, Lin Pingji did not worship Mount Hua, nor did he flirt with Yu Lingshan, which made Ling Huchong feel jealous. Therefore, Ling Huchong was grateful for Yu Lingshan's affection. In order to save his own life, he actually violated his teacher's orders and practiced the Zixia secret collection. His martial arts talent was excellent. When Yubuchuan and Ning Zhong found out that the Zixia secret collection was lost and returned to Mount Hua, Ling Huchong had already entered the realm, transforming most of the 6 exotic true qi in his body, and reaching a higher level. Yubuchuan was both surprised and angry, but also helpless. With the persuasion of Ning Zhongzi, he had to push the boat along the river and teach Ling Huchong all the Purple Cloud secret collection. After descending Mount Hua, the members of the Mount Hua sect met a father and daughter again. The father was a furious monk named Diamond, and the daughter was a beautiful little nun named Bujia and the senior sister of the Hengshan sect, Yilin. Monk Bujia used vulgar language and wanted to take Ling Huchong home as his son. Lol. Fortunately, Yilin persuaded him, and Monk Bujia had no choice but to retreat. This series of twists and turns made Yubuchuan furious and scolded him fiercely. Even his junior sister Yu Lingshan complained and became angry, suspecting that Ling Huchong and Yilin junior sister had secretly accepted it. Fortunately, Ling Huchong swore, and only then did Yu Lingshan smile again. The two reconciled as before. In this way, everyone from the Huashan sect traveled through the rivers and lakes, passing through Luoyang City in Hunan Province. Coincidentally, Mrs. Wang from the Fuwei Escort agency returned home to visit her family. Lin Pingji wandered on the street and met Yu Lingshan from the Huashan sect, making friends with high-level figures from the Huashan sect such as Yubuchuan. With admiration in their hearts, they invited the Huashan sect to their mansion. Afterwards, Yubuchuan took Lin Pingji as his disciple and became a junior disciple of the Huashan sect. It's strange to say that Yu Lingshan and Lin Ping are about the same age. They got to know each other in just a few days, practicing and playing with each other. Their relationship developed rapidly, and Ling Huchong was anxious in his eyes, but there was no one to confide in him. He could only drown his sorrows in alcohol. Once drunk, Ling Huchong mistakenly entered Green Bamboo Lane and made friends with Green Bamboo Wang and Auntie. One played the piano, the other played the flute, and the other practiced swordsmanship. They sang harmoniously, gradually forgetting their worries. One after another, Ling Huchong often stayed up at night and spent most of his time in Green Bamboo Lane. At this moment, returning from Green Bamboo Lane, Ling Huchong entered the luxurious and grand royal mansion. Upon entering the backyard, he could see Lin Pingji and Yu Lingshan practicing swordsmanship, while nearby Huashan sect disciples and Wang brothers were applauding and cheering. Senior brother. Ling Huchong arrived, and the disciples of the Huashan sect greeted him one after another. Yu Lingshan also stopped fighting with his sword and ran quickly towards him. Seeing Yu Lingshan, Ling Huchong's eyes lit up and he felt that the world was a bit bright. He couldn't help but laugh and say, "Junior sister. Senior brother, Xiaolinzi and I are competing in swordsmanship. Your martial arts are the highest and your swordsmanship is sharp. Why not teach Xiaolinzi?" Yu Lingshan said with a crisp smile. Ling Huchong felt a pain in his heart and his face darkened slightly. He wanted to refuse, but when he saw Lin Pingji strode forward, he respectfully said, "Senior brother, teach me a few moves." "Yes, senior brother, teach us." During this period, Ling Huchong set out early and returned late, often staying up late at night. Although the disciples of the Huashan sect were invited by Lin Pingji and the Wang brothers to visit the scenery of Luoyang City and taste its delicious food, they also missed Ling Huchong. Seeing him return early at this moment, they immediately persuaded him to practice swordsmanship. Well. Okay. A group of junior brothers started to coax, but Ling Huchong couldn't resist. He had to walk into the field and, in the excitement of everyone's eyes, suddenly drew his sword. With a faint sword light, a cold light suddenly appeared, and Ling Huchong practiced his sword moves. At this moment, Ling Huchong had a heart to show off, and a faint purple color was draped on his rectangular face, which was the purple cloud divine skill. A long sword was in his hand, like a spirit snake, shining with a cold light. Or it could be the Huashan sword technique, or the Dugu 9 swords, where Ling Hucheng has no moves but wins. He flies to the sky and escapes to the ground, his figure flickering in the field. All the disciples of the Huashan sect were stunned. The Wang brothers were even more stunned, like frogs at the bottom of a well, witnessing the exquisite martial arts of the martial arts sections. Not far away, Yu Buchuan, Ning Zhongze, and Wang Yuanba stood still, not knowing when they would come to watch. Their expressions were solemn and they were secretly shocked by Ling Hucheng's superb martial arts and swordsmanship, which had already become extraordinary. Master Yu, the martial arts and swordsmanship of the first disciple of your sect. I have broadened my horizons and truly deserve to be a major martial arts sect. Wang Yuanba was in his 70s, with a flushed face and a long white beard floating on his chest under his chin. He was spirited, and his left hand was playing with 2 golden gallstones the size of a goose egg. At this moment, his expression was solemn, and his eyes were full of vitality. As he gazed at Ling Hucheng's unparalleled sword light, he couldn't help but sigh deeply. What doesn't become a weapon, just learn some martial arts and show it off. Let Wang Laoxiong laugh. Yu Buchuan smiled faintly, wearing a green robe and standing with his hands down. He chatted with Wang Yuanba, showing a humble demeanor as a martial arts master. Next to her, Ning Zhongze was a female hero, singing along with her husband and not speaking. She only had bright eyes, a smile on her lips, and a loving face. In a moment, Ling Hucheng finished practicing a set of swordsmanship, and the whole scene was shouting uncontrollably. Ling Hucheng smiled faintly and felt proud, but not far away, he saw Yu Buchuan, Ning Zhongze, and Wang Yuanba standing still, looking at this place. He was immediately surprised, with sweat and hair all over his body rising up, and rushed to apologize. Master, mother, I understand my mistake. Ling Hucheng was anxious and uneasy. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Peach Valley 6 Immortals. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8 Peach Valley 6 Immortals. I don't know when it started, but Yu Buchuan saw Ling Hucheng as one unhappy on the left and the other unhappy on the right, and how he felt annoyed. How to promote the Huashan sect without knowing anything at all. Yu Buchuan didn't think about finding reasons from himself, but instead believed that it was all because Ling Hucheng was unaware of the situation, which was too rebellious. What a shameful thing. Yu Buchuan angrily cursed in a deep voice, I don't know who my surname is when I learn some martial arts. I just know how to show off in front of my junior brother. I taught you martial arts to make you stand out in public. These days, I haven't returned home at night. Where have you gone crazy to play? Do you still have the Huashan sect in your heart? Do you know your identity? Yes, I understand my mistake. Ling Hucheng looked desolate and knelt on the ground. All right. Ning Zhongze pushed her husband and said gently, Chong'er is still young and a child. It's normal for him to be playful, and he hasn't done anything illegal. What are you doing to scold him? He wants face too. He wants face. Yu Buchuan was furious and pointed at Ling Hucheng, cursing, he wants face, but I don't want face. Who wouldn't know that Yu Buchuan took a promiscuous son as his senior disciple and drank wildly all day? In the future, he will pass on the Huashan sect to him, and the Grandmaster will be extremely angry. Dad, why are you saying that to senior brother? Yu Lingshan ran to assist again and exclaimed in grievance, I think Master Brother is bold and unrestrained, not bound by details, and is a top-notch young martial artist in the martial arts world. How could he be so unbearable in your eyes? You are making trouble for no reason. Yu Buchuan fainted with anger. One wife and one daughter, whenever he teaches Ling Hucheng a lesson, he always chokes loudly. He is truly his good wife and good daughter. Pet it, you continue to pet it. A loving mother defeats many children. Sooner or later, this villain will cause great trouble and implicate our Huashan sect. Yu Buchuan broke through the defense, his face turned pale, and in front of everyone, he suddenly brushed his sleeves and left. Senior brother, senior brother. Ningzhong is too busy to keep up. Yu Lingshan didn't care and only helped Ling Hu Chong up. With a crisp smile, she said, "Don't be afraid, senior brother. My mother and I will protect you." Ling Hu Chong's eyes turned red, and he couldn't help but feel grateful in his heart. As if he were a child, he said to Yu Lingshan, "Thank you very much, junior sister." Yu Lingshan's eyes were bright and charming, and she smiled brilliantly, as if spring was blooming. The whole world was a bit bright. The next morning, Ling Hu Chong was sleeping when suddenly Lu Dayo knocked on the door and said, senior brother, wake up." Ling Hu Chong woke up with sleepy eyes, pushed open the door, and said, "Lu Ho, why are you so early?" "It's not early." Lu Dayo smiled and said, "Master, mother, and brothers have all woken up and are having dinner with Wang Laoxiong's family in the hall. After finishing their meal, they have to leave. Let's go." Ling Hu Chong was taken aback and said, "Where are you going?" "Continue heading south." Lu Dayo said, "Master said, we stayed in Luoyang City for more than 20 days and are ready to bid farewell and continue our travels in the martial arts world." "Ah!" Ling Hu Chong exclaimed, "How come I don't know about this? When Master spoke that day, you were not there. You didn't ask when you came back yesterday, so we didn't say anything. Anyway, it's not a big deal. Let's go together after dinner." Lu Dayo chuckled. "Ah, Lu Hoer, you've caused me a big trouble." Ling Hu Chong exclaimed in surprise and rushed out of the room, while his shouting came. "Tell my master and mother that I won't have breakfast. Go to the dock later and ask them to wait for me. Senior brother, senior brother." Seeing Ling Hu Chong running away, Lu Dayo was shocked and dumbfounded. He couldn't help but scream, but also had no choice but to return in frustration and go to the hall to report to his master and mother. Speaking of which, Ling Hu Chong hurriedly ran out of the royal mansion and walked on the bustling streets of Luoyang. Unconsciously, he used the Huashan lightness skill and, as he raced, ran all the way from the west to the south of the city. At the end of the familiar green bamboo lane, Ling Hu Chong entered the bamboo grove and loudly reported, "Auntie, Wang, Ling Hu Chong is here." However, in today's bamboo grove elegant house, a gentle breeze blew past, as if there was no one there. Ling Hu Chong was amazed and pushed open the bamboo door to enter the house. There was a note left on a coffee table inside the bamboo house. Ling Hu Chong picked it up and saw a small letter written on it. "Ling Hu Young Xia, I have something to do temporarily. I have already traveled far away and will meet again in the future. Let's talk about the world again." A wave of reluctant emotions filled Ling Hu Chong's heart, feeling lost for a long time. He just looked at the bamboo forest elegant house with nostalgia, then closed the bamboo door, used Huashan lightness skill, and ran from Green Bamboo Lane to the dock. At the Luoshui dock, when Ling Hu Chong rushed over, Yu Buchuan and his group had already boarded the ship and were waiting at the dock. "Senior brother, senior brother." Ling Hu Chong rushed forward, and the disciples of the Huashan sect on the boat saw him, waving and shouting with surprise on their faces. Ling Hu Chong rushed onto the ship, breathed a long sigh of relief, and came to plead guilty in front of Yu Buchuan and Ning Zhongzi. "Master, mother, I'm late." Yu Buchuan snorted coldly, his face darkened, and he scolded, "Young Xia Ling Hu, what a big airs. How many of us are waiting for you?" Ling Hu Chong felt ashamed and lowered his head in silence. "But I have to thank young Xia Ling Hu. If it weren't for young Xia Ling Hu's delay, how could my grandparents and grandchildren have had a moment more warmth?" Wang Yuanba laughed loudly, beside him were the Wang brothers and Lin Ping's mother and son. At this moment, Ling Hu Chong boarded the ship, and his grandparents, grandmothers, and sons parted ways, all with sadness on their faces. Mrs. Lin even held Ning Zhongzi's jade hands, pleading in tears, hoping that Yu Buchuan and his wife would take more care of Lin Pingji. In a moment, Wang Yuanba and his son got off the boat and stood on the dock waving goodbye. A large boat slowly sailed north along the Luo River. The big boat is slowly sailing, and on the deck, the disciples of the Huashan sect are playing wildly, dismantling the gifts given by the Wang family. This time, Lin Pingji joined the Huashan sect, and the Wang family gave away large boxes, small boxes, big and small bags, countless food and drink gifts. Almost everyone had one. Yu Buchuan, Ning Zhongze, and Yu Lingshan were particularly concerned, with food, drink, clothing, and clothing piled up in several large boxes, making it dazzling. "Senior brother, come and see, this is a gift from the Wang family." Lu Dayo exclaimed excitedly, calling for Linghu to rush over. Linghu Chong was annoyed and couldn't stand Lin Pingji's extravagance. He suddenly choked and said, "I don't want it. I'm used to being alone and can't bear the glory and wealth. You can enjoy this blessing yourself." After speaking, Linghu Chong entered the cabin alone and never came out again. Upon seeing this, the disciples of the Huashan sect couldn't help but look at each other, wondering who had offended Linghu Chong again, and could only curse Lu Hoer for being too talkative. Lu Dayo felt aggrieved and said, "I didn't say anything either." This scene was seen by the couple Yu Buchuan and Ning Zhongze, and Yu Buchuan angrily scolded with a stern face, "What a disappointing thing." Obviously, he could see that Linghu Chong was being sour and jealous. He was just the head disciple of the Huashan sect, and how could his identity be lower than that of the young master of the Fuwei Escort agency? He insisted on pretending and making people dislike him. "Senior brother, why don't you curse a few more words?" Ning Zhongze said softly, "Speaking of which, my Huashan sect has become desolate. When the Huashan sect was at its peak, how many people admired my reputation and invested in my industry? Although we are in the deep mountains and forests, we do not worry about food and clothing, and are even more affluent than ordinary gentry. But now, the younger generation of Chong'er Lingshan and others are suffering hard and poor with us, and cannot even compare to the Golden Sword Gate and Fuwei Escort agency." Yu Buchuan said in a low voice, "Don't worry, junior sister. This situation won't last too long." "Well, senior brother, I believe you." Ning Zhongze gave a gentle smile, grabbed Yu Buchuan's broad and generous hand, and inadvertently sank his head onto Yu Buchuan's shoulder. The two of them snuggled together, like a divine couple at the bow of the boat, making the disciples of the Huashan sect secretly envious. The Huashan sect traveled through the rivers and lakes, and on this day, a large boat sailed to Kaifeng Prefecture. Yu Buchuan explained to everyone about the characters in the city's rivers and lakes, mentioning a divine doctor who was both righteous and evil, nicknamed, Famous Killer, Ping Yizhi. This surprised the disciples of the Huashan sect, who never expected such a strange person to exist in the world. Even Linghu Chong couldn't help but yearn to make friends with such an extraordinary person. Entering Kaifeng Prefecture, due to Yu Buchuan's prior words, the disciples of the Huashan sect did not need to visit guests or friends, but only focused on visiting some famous scenic spots and historical sites. Therefore, the disciples of the Huashan sect traveled all the way and gradually entered Juxian town, which was the place where Grandpa Yu Fei broke through the golden wushu. The disciples of the Huashan sect admired him deeply and decided to go and take a look. Walking to Juxian town, there is a large temple by the roadside with the 4 golden characters, General Yang Temple, written on its forehead. Although there is no one in the temple, the scenery is neat and there is a faint fragrance. It is obvious that some people often offer incense and do not forget General Yang Zixing's merits. General Yang Zixing sacrificed his life for the country, which is highly respected. Let's go in and offer General Yang a stick of incense. Yu Buchuan performed Shi Ran and led his disciples into the temple. Unexpectedly, as soon as I entered the temple, I could only hear the voices of various arguments coming from outside the temple, which were very familiar. In an instant, the faces of the Huashan sect changed. Not good, it's Peach Valley's 6 monsters. At first, outside the Huashan Jingqi Hall, the 6 immortals of Peach Valley descended from the sky and tore Qingbuo into pieces, scaring every one of the Huashan sect disciples. Now that they heard the sound, it gradually got closer and closer, and they couldn't help but feel shivering and instinctively wanted to run away. Oh, there's someone in the temple. This is a temple. What's so strange about someone? Some people are not strange, but no one is strange. It's not surprising whether there are people or not. The Peach Valley 6 Immortals have a childlike innocence, as mischievous as a child. They chatter and argue, coming at an extremely fast speed. Soon, they float into the temple. The disciples of the Huashan sect are about to hide, but it's already too late. Linghu Chong. The 6 Immortals of Taogu are now only 5 people. Upon entering Yang Zixing Temple, they were pleasantly surprised to see Linghu Chong and couldn't help but scream. Linghu Chong's face was full of shame, thinking that the last-ranked, Peach Immortal, had already been accidentally killed by his sword. Therefore, he clenched his fists and said, 5 Peach brothers, haven't seen you for a long time. You've always been good. Good tight, good tight. Can eat and drink, can pull and sleep. The 5 Immortals of Peach Valley chattered and circled around Linghu Chong, looking very excited. They only scared everyone in the Huashan sect and remained motionless. Even the couple Yubuchuan and Ning Zhongzi had a gloomy expression, standing quietly in place, watching the 5 Immortals of Peach Valley play around without daring to make any noise. Hello, Linghu Chong, are you also going to Wubagang to assist? Suddenly, Peach Root Immortal spoke loudly. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Murder Dr. Ping Yizhi, seeking follow-up and investment. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9 Murder Dr. Ping Yizhi, seeking follow-up and investment. What does this mean? Linghu Chong looked surprised and didn't understand the meaning of the 5 Immortals in Taogu. Oh, don't you know? The Holy Sister ordered the disciples of the 3 mountains and 5 mountains to go to the 5 Barbarians' Hill to gather and fight against the Qinyi Rakshasa. That opera performer is very powerful, and none of our 5 brothers can fight. If it weren't for him saying that the 6 Immortals of Peach Valley haven't gathered and can't exert their power, he would have killed all 5 of us. Peach Leaf Immortal chattered and rushed to say. Have you ever seen the Qinyi Rakshasa? Linghu Chong was delighted at the words. I've seen it, I've seen it. The performer followed the saint, the old sect leader, and the green bamboo Wang, his soul lingering like a ghost. Our brothers were so angry that we went up and fought, but his mother was so powerful. The performer not only shone, but also made a big golden bell, almost not shaking our brothers to death. Taogan Xian rushed to say. What are the saints and old religious leaders in your mouth? Linghu Chong was puzzled and wanted to inquire about the specific identity of the ant. The saint is the saint, and the old leader is the old leader. Taoji Xian rushed to say. No, no, there are names for the saint and the old master, one named Reningying and the other named Renwushing. Peach Blossom Fairy shook her head. No, no, the saint is the saint of our sun and moon god cult, and the old leader is the leader of our sun and moon god cult. Tao Zhenxian was proud. Linghu Chong, Yubuchuan, Ning Zhongzi, and the disciples of the Huashan sect who had some knowledge of the martial arts world, were all stunned. Have you allowed me to return to the martial arts world? So why didn't you go to Wubagang? Linghu Chong was curious. With the personality of the Taogu 5 Immortals, was he afraid of being beaten? 6 younger brothers are not good yet, how can we go to Wubagang? If we go, we won't be able to fight. Peach Blossom Immortal shook his head and head. Even if brother 6 is good, he can't beat him, Taoji Xian rushed to say. I haven't fought before, how do you know you can't fight? Tao Zhen Xian scolded angrily, his face full of dissatisfaction. Linghu Chong was surprised and couldn't help but say, Taoshi Immortal hasn't died. Nature didn't die. Peach Root Immortal rode. No, half dead, said Taoji Xian. Where is he? Linghu Chong exclaimed excitedly. When he accidentally killed Peach Immortal, Ling Hucheng felt guilty and dared not see the 6 immortals of Peach Valley. He never thought that Peach Immortal had not died, which was really great. At Ping Yizhi's place, Ping Yizhi is treating his injury. Tao Zhenxian smiled and continued to ask, "By the way, Ling Hucheng, have you recovered from your injury? Otherwise, let Ping Yizhi show you." Last time, outside the Huashan Jingqi Hall, Ling Hucheng was seriously injured by Qing Buyo's despicable palm. The 6 immortals of Peach Valley infused the 6 realms of Qi, but almost did not kill Ling Hucheng. Fortunately, he was able to resolve it after practicing the Purple Cloud secret collection. Now, the old story of the 5 immortals of Peach Valley has been brought up again, and he wants to continue treating Ling Hucheng's injuries. Yes, Ping Yizhi kills a famous doctor. There's a bad rule. To save someone, you must kill someone. Our brothers help you kill, let Ping Yizhi help you treat your illness. Peach Blossom Fairy patted her chest and said with a smile. Go, go, go. The Peach Leaf Immortal shouted excitedly, and the 5 immortals of Peach Valley immediately exerted their strength, grabbing Ling Hucheng's neck, 2 arms, and 2 thighs respectively. Ling Hucheng was taken aback and immediately wanted to dodge, but even though he had practiced the Purple Cloud secret collection and greatly improved his internal power and martial arts, he still couldn't match the Peach Valley 5 immortals once again. These 5 people have incredibly fast body movements, and their coordination seems like a set of joint attack formations, completely flawless. Unless using Dugujiojian to assassinate the opponent. Ling Hucheng's heart softened. He had already felt guilty about his last accidental killing. How could he take action against his friend again? Isn't it unjust and unjust? In such hesitation, the 5 immortals of Taogu accurately grabbed Ling Hucheng's neck and hands and feet, lifted him up, and carried him out of General Yang's temple. All the disciples of the Huashan sect in the temple were stunned, not a single one dared to move, and their bodies were half cold. Senior brother, Chong'er. Ning Zhongzi reacted and immediately looked worried. Chao Yubuchuan urgently said, as if he wanted to save someone. Don't worry, listen to the meaning of the Peach Valley 5 monsters. They don't know that Chong'er has practiced the Purple Cloud divine skill and has already dissolved the exotic true Qi in their body, so they want to seek a finger of peace to save people. Yubuchuan smiled and first comforted Ning Zhongzi, then his eyes flickered and he pondered. However, the Peach Valley 6 immortals and Peace Finger are both righteous and evil. They are actually members of the demon sect. Chong'er is making friends with them, afraid it will make the martial arts world criticize them. Let's catch up and find a way to make Chong'er leave. It's all up to senior brother to make the decision. Ning Zhongzi nodded and immediately ordered the disciples of Huashan to return to the ship first. Shi and Yubuchuan drifted off and followed the tracks of the 5 monsters in Taogu to catch up. After the 2 of them left the temple, they saw the Peach Blossom 5 monsters turning from a small path into a mountain valley from a distance. The Peach Blossom 5 monsters had extraordinary martial arts skills, and the 2 dared not get too close, only following from a distance. Fortunately, the Peach Blossom 5 monsters were chattering and arguing all the way, so they did not find the Yubuchuan couple following them. Along the mountain road, passing by more than 10 large willow trees, I saw several tiled houses on the bank of a small stream. The 5 monsters carried Ling Hucheng into the houses. Ping Yizhi, quickly treat Ling Hucheng's illness. Who are you going to kill? Our brothers helped him kill. That's right, come and treat the illness. The Peach Valley 5 monsters entered the house and soon heard a chirping sound, followed by a sharp voice. Have you finished farting? I didn't let you go to General Yang's temple to play for half a day. Why did you come back so soon? Yubuchuan and his wife walked around to the back of the house and hid on a large willow tree. They looked through the window and saw 7 or 8 lights flickering inside. In the middle of the room, there was a large bed, and a naked man lying on his back was covered in silver needles. Yubuchuan could see that all the silver needles on the man's body were buzzing and vibrating, containing internal energy. He was flicked lightly by a short and chubby man, and every strike was just right. That short and chubby guy, with a huge head and a flick of a mouse beard, shook his head and shook his head. It was quite comical, just like the famous killer doctor, Ping Yi pointed out. That strange needle technique should be the secret technique of Ping Yizhi. The 5 monsters of Peach Valley burst into the room, and Ping Yizhi was startled. He almost made a mistake in applying the needle. At this moment, his eyes were staring at the 5 monsters of Peach Blossom, and he was angry, cutting his teeth, and cursing in a sharp voice. Roll, roll, I'm getting my needle. It's a crucial step, don't disturb me, otherwise you 6 brothers will die. Don't blame me. Ping roared and continued with the needle. The Peach Blossom 5 monsters looked surprised, and Peach Leaf Immortal even wanted to reach out and touch the trembling silver needle on Peach Fruit Immortal's body. Fortunately, he was slapped by Peach Root Immortal and angrily scolded, "Do you want to kill 6th brother? Let's go and wait for Ping to cure 6th brother with just 1 finger. Let's invite him to treat Linghu Chong again." After speaking, he pushed and shoved his younger brothers, walked out of the room where Ping Yizhi was, and waited quietly inside the room. This waiting time is only half an hour. Yubuchuan saw it very clearly. He saw that Ping Yizhi had completed the needle application, and after removing all the silver needles, he went around the head of the bed and patted Tao Shixian's head. He only heard Tao Shixian's, "ah," and suddenly leaned up. With his eyes bulging and his bones rolling, he angrily rubbed his head and cursed, "Which bastard slapped my head? 6th brother." Suddenly, the Peach Blossom 5 monsters burst into the room and saw the resurrected Peach Immortal chattering around him, happily asking about his health and whether there was anything unusual. It seems that the relationship between the Peach Blossom 6 Immortals is excellent. "Thank you very much, sir, for saving your life." Linghu Chong couldn't help but feel relieved when he saw Tao Shixian save her life. He smiled and clenched his fists towards Ping, grateful and grateful. "What are you thanking me for saving him?" Ping Yizhi was surprised. "Sir, I don't know that Tao Shixian was actually mistakenly killed by me. If he really died, it would make Huchong feel uneasy for a lifetime. Now that sir has saved Tao Shixian, it's like saving my life. Huchong is immensely grateful." Ping pointed and chuckled, carefully glanced at Linghu Chong, and found that Linghu Chong's face was rosy and didn't look like he was sick. He said, "Raise your hand." "Ah." Linghu Chong was stunned for a moment. "I'll ask you to raise your hand, I'll give you a pulse signal." Ping picked up Linghu Chong's wrist with 1 finger, placed his index finger on his pulse, and listened carefully. He found that Linghu Chong's pulse was steady and strong, not as if he was sick. At this moment, Linghu Chong smiled and said, "Sir, I have changed my name. I was indeed seriously injured before, but my master was kind and passed down my Huashan Sex Mind Technique, Purple Cloud Secret Collection. I have already dispelled the alien true Qi in my body. I'm talking about it." Ping Yi shook his head, but couldn't deny it and said, "Since I'm not sick, let's leave quickly. I have something to do. Let's go." "Ping Yizhi, where are you going?" Suddenly, the 6 immortals of Peach Valley were surprised and rushed out of the room to come to Ping Yizhi, chatting around him and asking questions. "Nonsense." Ping Yizhi glared angrily and said, "The Holy Sister has ordered our fellow martial artists from the 3 mountains and 5 mountains to go to the 5 barbarians gang to assist. Although my martial arts are not strong enough to defeat the Blue Robe Raksha, fortunately my medical skills are superb. If I go there, I can either save people or kill people." "Killing, how do you kill?" The 6 immortals of Peach Valley were puzzled. As the saying goes, medicine is 3 parts poisonous, and every famous doctor is a master of using poison. The Qingyi Raksha refined the Golden Bell Mask into the 12 levels, which can be said to be the invincibility of the diamond, the difficulty of sword damage, and the invincibility of all kinds of poisons. Although I can't defeat him in martial arts, I will prepare the most powerful poison in the world. I must break his golden body and let the world know the reputation of my Ping Yizhi. Obviously, he is very confident in his medical skills, poison skills. Reasonable, reasonable. The 6 immortals of Peach Valley shouted excitedly and surrounded Ping Yizhi, saying, "Have you prepared a poison that can kill people?" Nature. Ping nodded proudly with one finger. Upon hearing this, the 6 immortals of Taogu became increasingly excited and quickly grabbed Ping Yizhi and Ling Huchong, ready to rush towards Wubagang. Fortunately, Ping Yizhi angrily cursed on the way, "Fool, I haven't picked up my medicine box yet. A group of fools, put me down quickly." Ping Yizhi returned to the tiled house and searched for the medicine box. Pointing at the 6 immortals of Peach Valley, he angrily cursed, "Don't catch me, I'll go by myself." "Humph, our brothers still don't want to carry you." Tao Shixian was not angry and clearly blamed Ping Yizhi for slapping him, muttering incessantly and cursing. "Ling Huchong is a disciple of the Huashan sect, not a disciple of our holy cult. Are you not afraid of the holy sister blaming him when you carry him?" Ping Yizhi walked out of the tiled house and looked at Ling Huchong, who was carried in mid-air by the 6 immortals of Taogu. He couldn't help but frown and say, "He, Ping Yizhi, are you ignorant and ignorant?" Tao Zhenxian exclaimed proudly, "Ling Huchong is the beloved of our saint. He will become the sun.in.law of our sun and moon cult in the future. If we catch him, the saint will only be happy. How can we blame him?" "Yes, yes." The 6 immortals of Peach Blossom Valley clamored and said, "Hey, you 6 must not talk nonsense. My aunt and I are innocent and have no personal relationship with our children. Don't ruin my aunt's reputation." Ling Huchong said with embarrassment and anger, looking up and shouting loudly. "You see, he admitted it, right?" Peach Leaf Immortal chuckled. Ping Yi pointed to his eyebrows and rubbed his mouse beard, saying with a smile, "The holy aunt is quite old. She has indeed reached the age of initial love." Unexpectedly, she fell in love with Ling Huchong from the Huashan sect. "I just checked his pulse and found that he has deep internal strength and strong blood. He is easy to raise. In the future, if she marries the holy aunt, she will be able to have a harmonious husband and wife, and give birth to a few chubby kids." Ping Yizhi walked and talked, using vulgar language all the way, only making Ling Huchong blush with embarrassment. He angrily explained loudly, but it made the Peach Valley 6 immortals and Ping Yizhi even more excited and teasing. As the group gradually drifted away, Mr. and Mrs. Yubuchuan just jumped off the willow tree and landed on the ground, looking at the departing figures of the group from afar with uncertain expressions. "This damn scoundrel, this despicable thing, is actually flirting with the demonic cult witch." Yubuchuan gritted his teeth and cursed angrily. "Senior brother, there may have been a misunderstanding. Chong'er is not that kind of person. He has some feelings about how he would interact with a witch." Ning Zhongze looked worried and couldn't help but explain after hearing her husband's angry scolding. "You're still defending him." Yubuchuan became increasingly angry, his face turning pale as he said, "It's not you and Ling Shan who usually protect him. Can he act recklessly like this? What did I say earlier? This scoundrel is reckless and will cause big trouble sooner or later. What's going on now?" The eldest disciple of the Huashan sect, Zhu Ran, and the demonic cult witch are not clear. When this matter spreads, the Huashan sect harbors dirt and filth, and the century-old reputation is destroyed in an instant. We have no face to face the ancestors of the Huashan sect. Ning Zhongze listened and hesitated to speak, only to say, "Senior brother, don't get angry for now. Save Chong'er before we talk. If he really colludes with the demon cult at Wubagang, this matter won't be clear." "Humph, don't I know?" Yubuchuan snorted coldly, and immediately jumped with Ning Zhongzi, using Huashan lightness skill and chasing towards the dock. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Wubagang Juyi. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Chapter 10. Wubagang Juyi. On the dock, Yu Buchuan and his wife rushed over, only to see Ping Yizhi, the 6 immortals of Taogu, and Linghu Chong all on the big boat, standing in a clear line with the disciples of the Huashan sect. Master and mother have returned. Yu Buchuan and his wife appeared, and the disciples of the Huashan sect immediately cheered with excitement. Yu Buchuan and his wife jumped into the big boat. What an exquisite lightness skill! Ping Yizhi exclaimed in admiration. What's so ingenious? With such lightness skills, any one of the 6 immortals in Taogu is much better than him. Tao Jian Immortal shook his head disdainfully and immediately shouted, "Hey, boatman, everyone is here. Let's set sail quickly. We're going to Wubagang." That's right, quickly set sail. On the spacious deck, the 6 immortals of Taogu jumped up and down. Upon seeing the return of Mr. and Mrs. Yu Buchuan, the boatman master immediately breathed a sigh of relief and clasped his fists, saying, "Master Yu, Madam Yu, these 7 people came uninvited. What do you think should be done?" "No problem," Yu Buchuan pondered and said, "as guests, let's set sail." "Senior brother." Ning Zhong hesitated, but saw Yu Buchuan shake his head and whispered, "Let me go out of the martial arts world again. This matter should not be underestimated. Since he wants to gather at Wubagang, we will go and take a look." At this point, Yu Buchuan looked at Ping Yizhi from afar and said, "Ping Yizhi is cunning, despicable, and shameless. He even intends to poison people. How can we turn a blind eye to this matter when we learn about it? We must inform Qingyi Luosha of this matter. Although this person is ruthless in his actions, the people he kills are all those who commit crimes and crimes. Our Huashan sect upholds the right path and righteousness, and we must help him." Senior brother's words make sense. Ning Zhongzi nodded and followed her husband's advice. The group boarded a boat and headed north along the Luo River. Along the way, the 6 immortals of Peach Valley were clamoring, and the martial arts heroes of the 3 mountains and 5 mountains responded to the orders of the Holy Sister. They all rushed to Wubagang, and the disciples of the Huashan sect sailed north, encountering several waves of top-notch experts from the 3 teachings and 9 streams, including the Yellow River Ancestor, Old Man and Ancestor Qinqiu, Ji Wuxia, the leader of the 5 Poisons cult, Lan Fenghuang, and the Silver-Beard Dragon, Huang Boliu, among others. Many of them were no less skilled in martial arts than the Yu Buchuan couple, with a wider range of disciples and stronger influence, which secretly surprised the Yu Buchuan couple. In this way, the disciples of the Huashan sect sailed north and gradually entered the border of Shandong and Hunan provinces. The terrain in this area was flat, with many swamps. From a distance, Wubagang was not very high, only slightly mountainous. On the hill, there is a large pine forest covered in darkness, and a mountain road twists and turns up. The crowd abandoned the boat and entered the pine forest on the hilltop. Suddenly, a large open space opened up, but when they saw a cluster to the east and a pile to the west, the heads of the people surged. These people had different expressions and appearances, all of whom were wild men from the 3 mountains and 5 mountains. Strangely, despite the gathering of various religions, the atmosphere was extremely solemn, with no one daring to speak or argue. As soon as I entered the pine forest clearing, I was immersed in the atmosphere and unconsciously lowered my voice, asking, "What happened? Why is there no one talking?" "Shoo." A wild man with peculiar attire and a fierce expression raised his index finger in front of his lips, made a gesture of silence, and said with a serious expression, "Qingyi Luo Cha has spoken, and we will not make a noise. Anyone who makes a loud noise will be killed. We have so many people, are we still afraid of him alone?" Ji Wuxia shook his folding fan and pretended to be a charming scholar, confidently saying, "Let's all stand shoulder to shoulder. If we don't believe it, we can't beat him. The reckless man smiled bitterly and said, "The blue-clothed Rakshasa Vajra is not bad, and is not invaded by all kinds of poison. He has killed dozens of our heroes and heroes, all of whom are top-notch experts from the 3 mountains and 5 mountains, including Tian Wuguang, the twin Xiong's of the northern desert, the twin snake evil beggar, the Tongbai double Qi, and so on." "Tian Wuguang is dead?" Linghu Chong exclaimed in surprise. "Yes, he was killed with one palm from the Qingyi Raksha, and his whole body was blown to pieces without even leaving a whole body. Monk Bujie wanted to stop him, but he was also half dead with one palm." The reckless man's heart was still trembling, and he couldn't help but shudder at the thought of the brutal methods of the Qingyi Raksha. In an instant, all the heroes who had just entered the pine forest clearing were infected by the atmosphere of suppression, and instinctively shut up, showing a solemn expression. "Hey, Peach Valley 6 Immortals, didn't your 6 brothers agree to kill one person? I'm going to kill the Qingyi Luosha now, go help me kill it." Ping Yi shook his head and head, stroking his mouse beard, his small eyes shining brightly. The Peach Valley 6 Immortals, like children, were originally infected by the atmosphere of the pine forest clearing and rarely quieted down. At this moment, they were excited by Ping Yi's finger and immediately started chattering and arguing. "Kill, kill, whoever fears. Hey, opera singer, come out quickly. We, the 6 Immortals of Peach Valley, are here." In an instant, the quarreling voices of the 6 Immortals of Peach Valley echoed through the silence of the pine forest clearing. Shoo! In the pine forest, a scene came silently. The 6 Immortals of Peach Valley, with a childlike heart, are ignorant of good and evil, unable to distinguish right from wrong. It's a pity. After speaking, a man in green clothes wearing a Rakshasa mask suddenly shot out of the pine forest and directly took the 6 Immortals of Peach Valley. It was the hidden, green-clothed Rakshasa, Qiu Mingxuan. The Peach Valley 6 Immortals have extraordinary martial arts skills. They not only have profound internal skills, but also have developed a set of combined attack arrays, doubling their power. At this moment, he suddenly rushed towards Qiu Mingxuan at an extremely fast speed, even faster than when he met in Kaifeng Prefecture. It seemed that the addition of Peach Immortal truly unleashed the power of the entire joint attack formation. In the midst of lightning, fire, and stones, 6 ghostly figures rushed towards Qiu Mingxuan, grabbing his head and limbs respectively, as if they were about to lift him up and tear his strange power into pieces. Dang, the speed of the Peach Valley 6 Immortals was extremely fast, and they even grabbed Qiu Mingxuan's vital spot first. A huge force came, as if to lift and tear Qiu Mingxuan apart. But the next second, a golden light burst out on Qiu Mingxuan's body, and the protective energy automatically spewed out, forming a protective golden belt that shook away the 6 Immortals of Peach Valley. In the shocked eyes of the 5 barbarians, the bodies of the 6 Immortals exploded one by one, turning into a shower of blood and drifting in the sky. The hair of the 5 Overlord Gang's group of heroes stood up, all in awe. However, at this moment, Qiu Mingxuan's face changed and he suddenly noticed something unusual. The protective golden bell that protected his body did not dissipate, but instead hummed and rotated. The crisp ringing of the bell became increasingly intense, slowly echoing through the sky and earth. What's going on? Qiu Mingxuan's inner strength surged, and the protective golden bell hummed and spun, lifting a cloud of dust and mist. The sound of the bell became increasingly intense, and the thud 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 thud. In no time, among the group of heroes in the 5 barbarians gang, the dozens with the weakest martial arts skills suddenly turned pale, sprayed blood from the sky, and finally fell to the ground out of breath. Upon closer inspection, those people were bleeding from their 7 orifices and their death was extremely tragic. Not good. Someone exclaimed, "This bell can affect the heart. Cover your ears and don't listen." Not only the heroes of Wubagang, but also the disciples of Huashan sect. Some of them have pale faces and ferocious features, clutching their chests and gritting their teeth, saying, "Master, my heart is about to explode." Rewind quickly. Yubuchuan and his wife's face changed greatly, and they immediately rushed towards the distance, carrying their weakest disciples in martial arts. Linghu Chong, Lao Dino, Liang Fa and others also used their lightness skills and ran wildly with the figure of their master and mother. Not just disciples of the Huashan sect. The group of heroes at Wubagang were also fleeing with a frightened expression, as if taking a slow step would be killed by the eerie bell sound. Ah! Even a fire broke out due to the escape route, and the pine forest was filled with swords and screams, making the disciples of the Huashan sect scalp numb. A rabble. Escaping to a place where the bell could no longer be heard, Yubuchuan and his wife counted the number of people and listened to the screams in the pine forest. They couldn't help but contemplate and curse, revealing the upright behavior of the famous sect. "Senior brother, what's going on?" "Calm down," Mingzhuang frowned and asked Yubuchuan. Yubuchuan pondered deeply, his eyes flickering with wisdom and introversion. He said in a deep voice, "If what I expected was right, it should be the strange poison of Ping Yizhi that caught the Qinyi Luosha." Then he. Mingzhuang said with concern. "Junior sister, you stay here, I'll go and take a look." Yubuchuan pondered and instructed his wife to jump into the forest. "Shenyang, I'll go help Shifu." Yubuchuan left, and Linghu Chong couldn't resist and ran up with his sword. "Chonger." Mingzhuang's face changed and he couldn't help but shout urgently. However, he saw that Linghu Chong had jumped a few times and had already disappeared. He had to be secretly angry. Senior brother was right, this child has become more wild. Wubagang, on a pine forest clearing. A protective golden bell hummed and spun, emitting a brilliant golden light, covering the body of the Qinyi Raksha in the center. Dozens of top-notch experts from the 3 mountains and 5 mountains endured the eerie sound of the bell, watching the every move of the Qinyi Raksha. At this time, all that can be left behind are famous figures in the martial arts world, including the famous killer Dr. Ping Yizhi, the Yellow River ancestor, Old Man and ancestor Qinqiu, the leader of the Long Whale Island, Sima De, the leader of the Tianhe Gang, the Silver-Beard Jiao Huang Boliu, the leader of the 5 Poisons sect, Lan Fenghuang, and others who have no plans to do anything. "What's wrong with this person?" someone asked in a low voice. Ping Yizhi shook his head, touching the mustache in front of his lips. His small eyes flickered brightly, and he proudly said, "Of course, I have been poisoned by my strange poison." "Did you do it?" Everyone was surprised and turned their heads to look at Ping. They didn't expect him to be the mastermind behind the scenes. "Of course." Ping Yi nodded arrogantly, "This person has extraordinary talent and even refined the Golden Bell mask into the 12 levels. His physical body is not bad, and his swords are difficult to damage. He is invincible to all kinds of poisons. If you want to kill him, you must break his golden body. In the world, besides the strange poison that Ping Yi pointed to, is there anyone else? But how did you poison without even taking action?" Huang Boliu was puzzled. He, does it still take me, Ping Yizhi, to personally take action on poisoning?" Ping Yizhi chuckled and said, "As early as half a month ago, I refined Peach Immortal into a poisonous person. The Qinyi Luosha killed Peach Immortal and naturally became poisoned. You are such a despicable and shameless person, so you deliberately provoked the 6 immortals of Peach Valley before, with the purpose of making the Qinyi Luosha kill and poison. I mistakenly believed you, this person, and I have shown you great respect all the way." Suddenly, a person rushed into the pine forest, with long hair and a face, sword eyebrows and thin lips. It was Linghu Chong, who was angry and gnashing his teeth. His eyes were bloodshot, and he wielded a sword like a madman to kill him, which startled Ping Yizhi. End of this chapter.